Kazan, and stay evil, Dollface.
I'm Alistair Stevens, and this is a workplace romance gone wrong.
And I'm Vinton Bannon. I don't know if they told you, but I'm a hitman, not a fireman. I don't save people.
He said that with such disdain. Okay, so here's the situation, you guys. We watched Suicide Squad. It's not great. Initially I thought it's a fun, dumb movie and we'll have a fun, dumb time. And I think I might have to take those words back, which is fine.
I gotta say, this is my first time watching Suicide Squad and going in with basement expectations, just expecting this to be the worst movie I'd ever seen. It's not that.
It's not the worst movie I've ever seen. I mean, whenever my husband and I went to go see it in theaters after it had been out for a few weeks, we both also had very, very low expectations because it was already like just getting canned across the board. So we went and saw it. We had a fine time. We enjoyed it. It was all right. It was a fun,
good.
dumb movie.
So this was viewing number 3 for you? 4?
Yes. What we're about to do is going to be my 4th time watching this film.
Wow.
Yes. Yes.
Because we are going to watch it as we record this podcast. Rather than doing our traditional beat by beat, which would be, a grim march through hell.
Yes.
We're instead going to watch the movie, which is definitely not going to be that.
No, it's going to be. I think we're going to have a lot of fun doing this. Yeah.
We are also watching the theatrical cut, not the extended cut. You guys watched the extended cut last night.
Yeah, we did.
That was the first time I've seen it. The first time I've seen the extended cut. The second time I've seen the movie. The extended cut didn't add a whole lot. I read through a synopsis of the extra scenes. Mostly unnecessary.
Yeah, mostly just a couple of extra
me.
lines here and there. Yeah, so not really. It was fine.
There were, I think, 17 scenes. 8 of them were in a row when they were walking through the city in that middle portion.
Yeah, and it's just Harley
Just
talking
in
to
a row.
everybody, just like saying stuff.
I just really wanted more exposition scenes up top, explaining and introducing new characters.
What we needed in this film was more introductions, because I don't think I understood who these characters were.
I definitely didn't. I don't understand what Harley Quinn's deal is. I don't know.
Are they bad guys?
I think they might be
that was
bad
a hard
guys.
thing I couldn't follow throughout the film. I wish
I
they
don't
would have
know.
reminded me
These
more
guys
often.
are basically the Avengers, though, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just the DC's Avengers.
I think we're going to have to, be very careful that we don't melt our audio equipment with this level of snark. It could happen.
So I will warn everyone, we will be throwing a lot of shade at this film. Hopefully having fun doing so. This isn't the worst movie ever, as Alistair said. I had a lot of high expectations when I walked into it the first time, and I left very disappointed. Thinking the second time, it was funner.
Yeah.
Definitely was funner.
Yeah.
There are good moments in this film. I had previously described this film as a statue that your mom has on a table and your friends come over and knock it off and it shatters, and then you try to glue it together, but you glue it together in a way that doesn't even look human anymore.
Oh,
so there's a good
good.
movie in there. There's a statue in there to be found, but it's been chopped up and put in a way that does not look like a film anymore.
That is what frustrates me the most, is that I think at the heart of Suicide Squad, there's actually a really good film that I would like to see very much. Please
I'm
and thank
very
you.
excited for us to be pitching the good version of this film.
Let's do
while
that
we're doing
thing
this
over the course of the
recording.
next hour.
Also, our very good friend Daphne Olive is in town, so that's another reason why we're doing this commentary track, is that we want to try and knock this out as quick as possible. So let's go ahead and flip over that VHS, Vinton.
All right, following up on Batman v Superman, a Hot Topic music video montage. Meet the worst heroes ever. Also, the worst villains ever? A team of bad guys that gets along better than the Justice League. When a giant blue laser shoots out into the sky, who you gonna call? Apparently not Flash, Wonder Woman, or Batman. Let's just say they put him into a plot hole and threw away the plot hole. The DCEU movie that was supposed to change everything. The Harley Quinn Squad. Extended edition. Now with 12 whole minutes of Joker.
Wow. Wow. We could probably agree that the 12 whole minutes of Joker that we get, probably 12 minutes too many.
Oh, so many, too many.
Oh, and we're getting a lot less than that because we're not watching the extended edition.
That's true.
Yes,
That's
we're watching
true.
the theatrical version. Are we watching this at 1.5 speed? Is that
We are watching this at 1.5 speed, so this will not
Okay.
really be a commentary track as much as it is a gloss. It will be an
Yes.
overview.
Yeah, so I guess if you want to listen to this while watching the film, slow us down 1.5
Sure.
times, maybe? Is that how that works? I don't really know.
Then, can you tell me a little about the writer-director of this movie, David Ayer? Because I know literally nothing about this guy.
So the only thing I really knew him from before this was Training Day, his 2001 film that he wrote. I don't think he directed that one, but he's gone on to write and direct Harsh Times, Street Kings, End of Watch, Sabotage, and Fury. And he will be returning to the DCEU to do Gotham City Sirens, the Harley Quinn spinoff, possibly with Catwoman and Poison Ivy.
We'll see. That movie has production nightmare written all over it.
It sure does.
I would not be surprised if that movie
maybe they'll
vanishes.
be able to get it out now since Wonder Woman did so well. Maybe they'll be more comfortable with doing women-led superhero
I'd
films.
like that.
I would really
think-
like if we got, just made Harley Quinn like hella queer and she was in a relationship with Poison Ivy in that movie. That would be amazing.
Well, this takes me to one of my first major problems with this film. The Joker should be dead, you guys.
The
He
Joker
should have
should-
died before the start of the film. That should have been a primary motivator for Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
I guess we'll get to all of that.
Yeah,
Well,
when we
let's
get
talk
to it.
about what the Suicide Squad is in the comics real quick. There are 2 teams in DC Comics known as the Suicide Squad. The first of the 2 versions debuted in The Brave and the Bold number 25 in 1959, which was 3 issues before the Justice League was introduced.
Oh, how interesting.
This team of
I've always said the Justice League's such a Suicide Squad ripoff.
Yeah, me too. This team of regular humans, led by Rick Flag Jr., would step in and fight for the Justice Society. Basically, the Dirty Dozen fighting dinosaurs in this origin.
I'm super into that.
Wait, what?
Yep, they weren't supervillains or anything. Just regular humans, military squad, basically.
Well, okay, so they're the Howling Commandos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
The second and modern version, created by John Ostrander, debuted in Legends number 3 in 1987. In this version of DC Comics, Darkseid was trying to turn people against superheroes, and the U.S. government formed this team of bad guys to fight metahumans. Amanda Waller heading up the organization of the team, led by Rick Flag Jr., called Task Force X. The team consists of Blockbuster, Bronze Tiger, Captain Boomerang, Deadshot, and Enchantress originally. The Legends titles came out just after Crisis on Infinite Earth, and around the time that Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns was coming out, so that DC was wanting more gritty and more dark stories. This also happened around the time of the Iran-Contra affair, so there wasn't much faith in the U.S. government, and the comic plays off of that, even having Waller meet with President Reagan about the team. This springboarded the team into what we know today and what leads us into our film. The team is known for having lesser-known DC characters because they're not afraid of killing off those members and having a constant revolving door of a lineup of membership.
It's interesting that both Marvel and DC have this idea rolling around and that no one has ever really managed to make it work. The Suicide Squad in DC and the Thunderbolts over in the 616. It's not a bad idea as it goes. I think there's a lot of potential there, but because you're relying on characters that by definition no one cares about,
Right.
it can be really difficult to make that work.
Yeah. The original run on that 87 ran till 92, and it was probably the best, I think, in my opinion, of any of the Suicide Squad we got. There was a mini that was released in 2001 that wasn't very good, and I think that's where Rick Flag died. And then the series that was introduced after that appropriately was called Raise the Flag, where they brought him back to life because it turns out he wasn't dead, but it's called Raise the Flag. And
Comics.
It's comics, you know. So
Really comic it.
that was an 8-issue mini that was supposed to continue on from there, but didn't because it wasn't very popular. Then the team came back again in 2011 for the New 52 and revamped most recently for DC's Rebirth. Now, throughout most of that, Amanda Waller is the government puppet master behind the scenes typically, and she's a force to be reckoned with. The animated series, she knows who Batman is. There's a great moment in the animated series where she calls him Rich Boy when he's dressed up as Batman. It's fantastic.
That's amazing.
I wish that would have been more of what they went for in the movie.
Yep.
At the end, we do get that tease a little bit there. And Waller is known as the Wall in comics because she is like one of the toughest women that you'll ever meet. Really notorious and just not a force to be reckoned with. And she even, when she met with Reagan, as I mentioned earlier, she scolded him in like a 3 or 4 panel speech on how he treats the poor and disenfranchised.
Wow.
In the comic. It was pretty fantastic.
How do we feel about the characters in Suicide Squad going in? Did we have any prior knowledge of any of them besides Harley Quinn?
We're talking about the ones like in the movie?
Yeah.
The only one, okay, I knew about Harley Quinn, obviously, and I think I knew about Killer Croc because of the Batman animated series.
Sure.
And
And
that
the
was
amazing
it.
Arkham video games in which Killer Croc is
which I've watched
legit.
people play,
Yeah.
and it's really great and really excellent. But yeah, otherwise, no, I don't know who these other clowns are. I have no idea who any of these people are.
Deadshot is DC's Bullseye, which is very
I
helpful.
don't know. I mean, you say that like I know who that is. Come
To
on
be
now,
fair,
you
though, I
had to.
think Deadshot's a little more popular.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's
You should have probably
true.
said like Hawkeye or something, and I would have figured that out.
Who?
Shut up!
That guy?
Hawkeye.
That
You
guy?
guys are rude.
You talking
purple
about the guy
outfit?
that died in the,
Yeah, that guy.
yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Used to be married to Bobby Morris, right? Yeah, everyone's favorite hero?
I don't know this Hawk. Oh, Bobby Morris's husband. Oh,
Yeah, no, Bobby Morse's husband.
ex-husband.
Ex-husband.
All right, I think we're ready to do this thing. As I said, this isn't going to be a real commentary track unless you happen to be watching this at 1.5 times speed too, in which case...
Which is the
why?
recommended way to watch
Why?
this film, I think.
Why?
Well,
Don't do
because
that.
you're like us.
And
You're
if
going to miss
wait,
out on
we're-
all the fine detail and the wonderful dialogue.
If you want to do that for some crazy reason, we're starting on the Warner Brothers logo.
We are. Here we go. I do love the art style. It is very Hot Topic, but I love the
Yes.
art style that's applied to the
Yeah.
credits and the
No, it's
captions, the chirons
fantastic.
that we get throughout. It's splashy. It's vivid. Say what you like about this movie. It has a sense of itself.
Yes, that's
I
true.
love the stylistic theme of the film, especially when it was introduced in that second trailer. It was so beautiful. That second trailer.
That second
really
trailer is
pulled me in.
amazing.
Yeah, that trailer was Yeah, made a lot of people very excited about this movie.
Yes, and then we went and saw the movie, and we're sorely disappointed, some of us.
So we start off our film with our first of 3 to 4 introductions that we're going to get within the next 45 minutes.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh, yeah, no, it's ridiculous. We seriously introduce these characters over and over again for about 3/4 of an hour. It's
Character
insane.
1, introduction 1. Stick with it. We're gonna
Yeah,
get more.
yep.
We're gonna get a lot more. But I should say there are things that I legitimately like about this film. There are things that I think are really, really good. The film doesn't hang together, but that's really a structural problem, I think, and honestly, an editing problem too. We just don't have a sense of focus here, which makes a lot of sense when you think about how the movie was put together. This was supposed to be originally a Joker-led movie, as Jared Leto will tell you to this day.
And David Ayer says that that's what he wished he could have gone back and done.
Yeah, which is an interesting idea. I mean, I hate this version of the Joker. I hate
he's
this
terrible.
version of the
I
Joker.
hate him very, very,
I hated
very
them
much.
from the very first promo images that showed up, but I really wanted them to do something cool with it.
Yeah.
And it's just not. This is a performance that is so in the shadow of Heath Ledger.
Yes.
That it's just in the shadow.
Yeah.
There's nothing
I mean,
of substance
gosh, I don't
there.
even know if it's in the shadow. It may not be in the same room. It might be a shadow like someplace else.
We buried it beneath Heath Ledger's
We really
performance
did,
as,
yes,
as the
yes.
Joker. Yeah.
Now, I do really like the idea of a Suicide Squad, and I really like the idea of them doing a Suicide Squad movie. I mean, this is in the spirit of Seven Samurai, Dirty Dozen,
Sure,
these
yeah.
type of things, making bad guys good, or at least doing moderately good things for some reason. And it's always good to see a villain get a deeper story, not being 2D cannon fodder just for the furthering of the plot of the hero.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fair. And I really like the core plot here. The idea that something metahuman has struck, that Central City is just in ruins and we don't know why. That's
I think it's Midway City, actually.
Is it Midway City? I forget. All the DC cities kind of
Yeah,
blur
they're
together.
all the same.
It's Starling City, National
Yes.
City. Starling National Central City. It's Gothamtropolis. It's fine.
Basically, Gotham.
But I love that idea. And that felt, to me, those opening moments as we're arriving in the city and kind of moving through the streets felt kind of Cloverfield to me.
Yeah, and I feel like that's where we really should have started this film. I mean, we already,
Yes.
like now where we're at, we have seen our introduction to Deadshot. We have seen our introduction to Harley Quinn. Now we're being introduced to Amanda Waller, and she's telling us that Superman is dead, and we're about to get reintroduced to these guys. Again, we just did it. We just
Yep.
saw those two.
Each one of them had a musical cue, and they'll get an additional musical cue when they're reintroduced again.
Yes.
Yes.
And Amanda Waller is about to pitch the team to her first of 2 groups of white men in
Yes.
completion, telling us everything that we need to know about the team.
I got to tell you, at this point, I am in. Because
Yeah.
Will Smith is always watchable, and Margot Robbie is fantastic as
She's
Harley Quinn,
so
and Viola
good.
Davis is here. And hey, that's David Harbour, just hanging out. He got fired from his job as sheriff in Strange Things.
Yeah, Hopper, what are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
Well, he found that secret lab over there in Stranger Things, and then they,
Stranger
update-
Thingsville. I'm
Yes.
trying to remember the name of the place, and
What
now
is
I can't
that
make it. And of course, this is kind of a commentary track, so we can't edit this thing.
Right, no,
This is
absolutely
just
not.
one long gag reel.
Okay, so here we're getting reintroduced to Deadshot. I mean, further introduced, I suppose.
Yep. and,
Okay, here's the thing. I really like these intros with like the kinetic typography.
Yeah,
I
I
think
love
it's
that.
really cool.
It's really fun. During Deadshot's there, they said that one of the weapons that he's deadliest with is a potato cannon.
Yes, I saw that.
Potato cannon.
And a musket right there at the end, which I really like.
What about a potato musket?
Potato musket would be deadly.
And
Also, that was my
Really?
nickname in college.
All right. I do
It would
really
make more
like.
sense if you were Irish.
I do really like this scene with Deadshot. Just seeing him at work and seeing how he does what he does. I really do like this moment. It's one
Yeah.
of the best of the whole movie, I think.
No, it really works for me, and because we get to see his extraordinary capability. And I was a little concerned that with all of the technology, we were going to downplay Deadshot's actual skill, which
Yes.
is
Right.
he's just a preposterously good
He's
marksman.
he's the best marksman
Yeah,
like
he
ever.
never
ever.
misses.
Yeah.
Until he chooses to.
Until he chooses to miss.
Which is maybe not a great moment, but there it is. It's a really great sequence, and this is the thing. I kind of like Will Smith as Deadshot. I would like the movie that he is in.
Yeah.
I don't know what movie that is
He's
because
not in
he's
Suicide
not
Squad.
apparently in Suicide Squad, which is a little sad. And I understand it because you don't hire a guy like Will Smith to play that role in this movie. I
Sure.
don't know why he's in this film. He should be heading up. He could do the DC version of Deadpool. He could do something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would need to be a little softer around the edges, I guess, because I'm not sure he would commit to the bit. But now we're seeing his interactions with his daughter, which are interminable. And I don't think I need this degree of motivation for this character.
I
This is
really
now
don't.
our
Yeah.
third introduction to Deadshot.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we're about to get to one of my favorite parts of the film. I've been saying on recent episodes that Ben Affleck is my Batman.
Yeah.
That this is the version of Batman with which I am most enamored. This version specifically of Batman, as he drops down into the alley and catches Deadshot, this is so good. This is exactly what Batman should be. I'm crazy about this. And somehow I didn't know that he was in this movie before I started watching it. So this was a very pleasant surprise.
My problems with this are that apparently Batman is at Amanda Waller's beck and call. She just has to say, hey, there's this bad guy, go pick him up. And he's like, okay, I'm Batman. All right, fair enough. But then he shows up to kill Deadshot
Batman.
because Deadshot kills people. And he's like, but Batman kills people.
In
Batman
this version of the
in this
DCEU,
universe,
yeah.
Batman kills people.
He kills people with
I hate people who
abandon.
kill people, even though I kill people.
Yeah.
Have you seen the guns on my car? They're pretty great.
So here's our our third introduction, rather. Well, no, this is our second introduction to Harley
Yes.
Quinn, right?
Right,
so
right,
we're
yeah.
Here in Arkham Asylum, which is a great
can
nod.
I just talk about how much Harley Quinn? First of all, the name Harleen Quinzel is the dumbest. It's the second stupidest name in comics.
Yep. I had to remind you that the Blackagon Boltagar was Black Bolt's real name in the
Yes.
comics.
Yep. And I hate that. I also hate Harleen Quinzel. I could have stuck with Harley Quinzel. Listen, I realize that like you're taking this character who was in the animated series and trying to like give her a backstory. You didn't need to do that to her. Her parents hated her, I guess.
How many girls are there in the world right now called Harleen?
Harleen?
Because of this character.
No, I guarantee that there are millions,
at
thousands
least one
at least.
famous one because Kevin Smith's
daughter
Yes,
is
yeah, but she's not Harleen. She's Harley
She's
Quinn
Harley
Smith.
Quinn Smith.
Yes.
True.
Which is pretty
that's
great.
a perfectly good name.
Yeah.
It's a perfectly acceptable and very pretty name. I also hate her backstory. I hate this whole thing. This is the one instance where I wish that Harley got her own film so that we could really spend like the appropriate amount of time like dealing with that, because really what they're presenting me with is here's this girl who was working as because we paused the movie when we were watching it last night and like read her whole file.
Oh yeah.
And she's working as an intern, as a psychiatrist intern, like at Arkham Asylum and like doing this stuff with like chaos and love and all this other craziness. But all we see in this film is that she's a doctor who started working with the Joker and then just like fell for him, which like way to be like the worst at your job ever. Like how did you get to where you were at? And it drives me I don't understand.
Literally the front page of the handbook says, don't do this thing.
Don't do this. This
Specifically
is the
Joker,
thing.
Harley,
Yeah.
we're talking to you. Don't do this thing.
Right.
Yeah.
The backstory that they do present is really similar to the comics and before that the animated show, because Harley Quinn first showed up in the show.
A rare transplant out of the animated show back into the
Check
comics
out
universe.
the episode Mad Love to really see what her relationship with Joker was originally like in her creation. But yeah, in the comics, she was the head of all of her classes, super, super smart.
Yeah.
And she was also really good at gymnastics, which is kind of her superpower. She is well trained in like being able to move around like that quickly and fastly and having strength.
Yeah.
She was known for that. So that's where we get that added in with her complete insanity and no block whatsoever to tell her not to do something.
Yes.
It's kind of a superpower.
I think that Harley succeeds in this movie because of Margot Robbie.
Oh, absolutely.
Because she's so good and she brings such energy. The character doesn't really hang together, and we don't do what I think we should do, which is turn her insanity into a superpower.
Yeah. She
She should be the character taking the risks that the other characters would never take.
Right.
And that unpredictability makes her who she is. It is unfortunate too that right at the end of the movie, when we get the little dream sequences courtesy of the Enchantress, when we get the little perfect world, hey, what if everything worked out the way you wanted it to? Her dream is just to have 2.4 kids in a picket fence with the Joker.
Yeah, which is
I want more for her.
and I think that that's really what it is for me, is that because Margot Robbie's performance is so interesting and like so dynamic. Like I love watching her on screen. I enjoy watching her, but just the character, I'm like, this is not a fully fleshed out character. This is you have half of a character on screen right now.
Absolutely.
And you are just like rushing through presenting this character to us. And I mean, I would totally watch a Harley Quinn movie with Margot Robbie.
This moment when Batman resuscitates her, gives her the kiss of life, that is such a great like Batman moment. This is my thing with Batman in this movie, is that he feels like my preferred Batman. He's dark and brooding and conflicted, but also very human. And I love that.
In the How It Should Have Ended video during that scene that they were showing, he was singing a Pokemon song with Batman replacing the lyrics, saying, I want to be the very best that Batman ever was. And then when Harley comes out, she tries shooting at him and he goes, you shoot me and I'll punch you, Batman. It's fantastic. Which I just talked over the Flash showing up randomly in the film.
The Flash definitely showed up right there, introducing Captain Boomerang,
Which I like,
notorious Flash villain.
Yeah, it's a Flash villain.
I'm
like
into that.
And
And I'm liking the Flash, the DCEU Flash,
Yeah,
more
yeah.
and more the more I see him. So
Sure. I'm just wondering now that we've established that he's there and he's active, why he didn't show up to the giant blue light in the sky that was there for 3 days before the Suicide
I
Squad
don't know.
showed up.
Yeah, no, so here, we make this joke all the time, right? Like, we're watching, like, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, and we're like, why is he not calling everybody else? Why are we not calling Steve or Natasha or literally anyone? But here we're in, okay, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure of the geography. It's, you know what? It's just like Sunnydale, actually. It's all a nightmare hellscape in comics, right? Everything moves around and shifts wherever. So I don't know where Midway City is exactly in conjunction with Metropolis and Gotham City, which apparently are just across the river from each other, which we saw in Batman versus Superman.
yes.
That was all one breath. Okay, sorry.
They do have geographic places. I don't remember them exactly because I'm not a big DC fan to begin with, but it's the Flash. He can get halfway across the world.
He can go wherever he needs to, like, super quick,
Doesn't
right?
matter
Yeah,
where it
so
is.
I don't know what... I
Surely
mean,
it's on
Superman
the
is
news
dead
after 3 days.
right now, but Bruce Wayne and Diana Prince are hanging out someplace. Collecting heroes, and I don't know. I don't know.
Diana, at least at this point, is presumably still in France. So she has an excuse.
Yeah, she's got an excuse. She doesn't
She's dealing
see
with
it.
French trouble.
Well,
so.
I mean, I don't know. This takes place after Batman versus Superman, so she may be hanging out in Gotham now.
But presumably the frame of Wonder Woman also takes place after Batman versus Superman?
You know, that's an interesting question. Well, no, it must, actually.
It must, because we're referring back to their meeting. So,
Yes.
We just skipped over the introduction of the Enchantress, a.k.a. the world's worst archaeologist.
Dr. June Moon fell into a
Spelunking
cave.
in a cave and finds an artifact
Like,
and
with
just
nobody.
breaks
Like,
its
did she
head
not
off.
have anyone with her? Yeah.
No, she was just Lara Crofting it.
You know what?
The worst Laura Croft.
Laura Croft, also not a great archaeologist, especially
You hush your mouth.
when I am playing the game and I kill her 60 times in 2 minutes.
The story of Lara Croft is just, and then I fell off a ledge 4 times in a row because I couldn't make the jump. Yeah.
Yep.
So here is
That
my
damn
biggest
wolf.
problem with this entire movie: Rick Flag.
Oh, he's the worst, right?
He's the worst. The character is terrible. The writing is
performance is not
terrible.
great.
The performance, I'm going to go further. I think the performance is terrible.
Okay.
I don't know this guy. I haven't
Yep.
seen him in anything else. I did look up his IMDb page. I don't know. He's just not good.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be the heart of the film. If you block this story out on Post-it notes on the wall, it would become immediately apparent that Rick Flag's job is to be the anti-Amanda Waller, that she is there to compel the Suicide Squad,
Yes.
Task Force X, and he is there to unify
there's
them.
Hopper. What
but
up, Hopper?
instead, we pass off what should be his role to Deadshot mostly.
Which is weird.
Don't do that. Why are you
Yeah.
why is he in this film then? If you're not going to have him be the thing that he needs to be.
I'd like to comment on this meeting they're having. What if Superman were to do this thing when he was alive? One of them should just be like, but Superman's dead.
Yeah.
And then the one should be like, well, Batman will stop it. I don't know. What's the
I really did
problem?
want reference to Batman in this scene. It's true. And also, what if the next Superman was a terrorist? Oh, you mean like what if he leveled half a city?
Yeah,
I can't
you know, what
imagine
if
that
he, like,
happening.
murdered
Oh wait,
100,000
that was last
people?
Thursday.
Yeah. And also, like, Zod and them were there. Like, they were straight. I mean, like,
Yeah.
this did happen.
This
and
is not a
Superman
hypothetical
stopped it.
Amanda
This
Waller.
is no longer a hypothetical Amanda Waller. So we've got our second group of white dudes who are listening to Amanda Waller right now. Okay, this scene I think is actually really cool. Whenever June Moon is calling
it
forth the
looks
Enchantress,
awesome,
this
yeah.
visual effect of the hand coming up and
it's
the flip,
fantastic.
Yes.
I think that's visually just
Beautiful.
A
astonishing.
lot of the visual effects that we get for the Enchantress prior to the climax, where I think it all just goes off the rails,
Yes.
are very, very good. And I'm
Yeah.
reminded, of course, of the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
This is an archetype that really works for me. And Enchantress's role could be, thematically resonant with Wanda's role in something like Civil War.
Sure, absolutely.
Everyone is afraid of her. I mean, they're right to be afraid of her in
Yes,
this instance, but
yes.
it's an interesting archetype that I think the movie starts to use very well. Honestly, for all the repetition and exposition that we get right here at the beginning of the film, I'm in at this
Yeah.
point. I'm thinking, wow, this is way better than I thought it was.
For sure, yeah. No, up at this point, it's still like, okay, well, I'm not sure why we had to be reintroduced a couple of times, but this is still pretty cool. Like, all right, this is looking good.
Yeah.
Yeah. What bothers me here is the Enchantress can just flash across the room, but she can't just grab her heart.
Yeah, I don't know what the
It's
situation
just
is.
sitting there.
It's,
I mean,
it
Waller's
literally
just
is just
stabbing
right
it.
there.
I'm
not like it's in a
assuming
barrier.
that the briefcase has some kind of, I don't know, self-destruct thing. I don't know what happens. We see at the end of the film that when the heart is destroyed, the Enchantress dies.
Yeah, just like
Question mark?
well, presumably. I really hate that Amanda Waller is forcing, because June Moon obviously does not want this, and
Yeah.
Waller is forcing her to do that. I hate that we see that June is terrified. She's saying, "I can't do this again. Please don't make me do it
Yeah.
again."
Yeah.
And Waller is just like, "Get her out of here. Can't even like we can't have these emotions in this room."
Right.
And
Yeah,
it's just very frustrating.
This is what makes Amanda Waller the true villain of the film.
Yes.
Rick Flag and June Moon are innocent, and
Yeah.
yet she manipulates their lives to control them and make them do these.
And
Suicide
then
Squad
brags about it.
things.
Straight up is
Yeah,
like, "Oh yeah,
and-
no, I orchestrated all of this very specifically."
Right. And which creates the problem and the necessity for the Suicide Squad. So we put together the Suicide Squad for some reason that could
Yeah.
possibly happen in the future, and then the Suicide Squad themselves create the reason for them to be together
Yes.
and to do
Exactly.
something.
Yeah.
Amanda
yeah.
Waller, this is all your
Yes.
fault.
Yeah, Amanda Waller is straight up like Tony Stark Ultron levels of "this is your fault" right now.
Wow, I hadn't made that connection, but you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah, I
There's-
did this
There's
in
no
order to
movie if
protect
she just
things,
stayed home.
but I ended up making everything worse. We just passed a few minutes ago one of my favorite. I mean, God, I really do
There
think
was
that
our second
Harley could have
introduction
been.
to Croc, by the way.
Yeah, our
Yep.
second intro. Yeah, here we were going through our third introduction, fourth introduction for some of these
And
folks.
Also, that fire graphic right there is the worst YouTube
Is it
looking
that
graphic.
terrible?
It's really bad. Like you can do that. We could do that with the Adobe software that we own right now, right? Like we can make that. We
Yeah.
can redo that scene.
But if I did it, I would be embarrassed by it and not release it anywhere.
But we just passed by another introduction to Harley Quinn where she sees Amanda Waller walking along the top of the prison and she just says, "Are you the devil?" And I love that. I
so
love
good.
that moment.
It's a
It's
good
so
line.
good. It's a great line.
Well performed.
What do you
Yeah.
guys think about Diablo here?
I love Diablo up until his Sailor Moon transformation at the end, where suddenly, we need to resolve this plot. How about a whole new power set? Is that okay? Can we do that? But I really like the idea of, as a counterpoint to the other members of the Suicide Squad,
Yes.
because he is a pacifist, because he doesn't want to wield his power. He provides some interesting moral texture, which we
Yes.
really need in
We
this movie.
desperately need. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true.
And hey, let's have another introduction to Deadshot. It's been 5 minutes.
For sure, yeah. Hey, you guys remember Deadshot, right? You remember that
Yeah.
scene that we showed you where he
Hey.
was like super good at guns?
Yeah,
Here's another one.
Here's another one where we need to show you his power set because apparently you didn't realize last time we showed
Yeah, what
you.
is Deadshot good
Look,
at?
it's a very complicated power set. All right, we have to
I do like
be sure
this
of the
scene
rules.
though. I like the banter that happens in the scene. Like if we
It's
had
good.
started, here's the thing. I feel like there's like 3 or 4 places where you could have started this movie and
Yeah.
solved some of the problems that I have with it. One of them is that you just start with Amanda Waller walking through and Harley Quinn looking at her and saying, "Are you the devil?" And we begin the movie from that point forward.
I think you start with them walking down the street in the
Okay.
city. I think that is where the movie actually starts. You do, if your opening shot is that slow motion sequence of them all walking down the street, and then you can do the kinetic typography chirons over them, introducing
okay,
their
yeah, that would
characters.
have been really good actually.
You can do that in 30 seconds, and I am in.
Yeah.
See, mine would have been the cold open when they're delivered all to the same spot just outside the city, and we get our like 4th introduction to all of them.
Yes.
That would have been the perfect moment because you could just do that as a cold open. They get in the helicopter, and as soon as they land and walk down the street, then you throw the title across.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes. And
But
then you could even
all of
have
this-
where you've got like Amanda Waller like in her office with, and then have like one of the military guys there being like, "Okay, who are these people? What is going on?" Like we just like flew in to get the information, and she's like, "Oh, I put together a Suicide Squad. Let me explain this to you."
I'm also not sure about the effect of this film on the DCEU in terms of the introduction of powered metahumans. Because Deadshot isn't necessarily powered, he's just very, very
He's
good.
just very,
and
very
Harley
good.
isn't necessarily powered, she's just crazy, I
An
guess.
insane gymnast, apparently,
But-
with a psychiatry degree.
Diablo and the Enchantress, most notably. I mean, they are major players now.
Yes.
That kind of power set has to be significant as we move into the Justice League, and I'm not sure that I like the otherwise very grounded DCEU just leaning into metahumans
Yeah.
in this way. And I also don't like the phrase metahumans. I just,
Yeah, it's
it
interesting that they
sticks in
use
my mouth
that.
every time that I say it.
I don't know.
It's so weird because they use it so freely in the CW side of the DC verse, but it feels weird in
Well,
the
in the
context of...
the CW side of the DC universe, that they're like just way happier over there anyway, right? Like everybody's having a much better time over there.
Even an arrow.
even in Arrow.
Arrow's
which
the
is-
bad one.
Yeah, even Arrow would look at Amanda Waller and be like, no. This is too far right here.
Right. Well, and it's interesting that when we get that line from Enchantress talking about like the sun is setting and the metahumans are on the rise and change is happening, and it's just like, what is your plan, DC? What's happening here?
It's apocalyptic. I mean, it has to be.
Mm-hmm.
Presumably, Justice League is going to introduce another tier of major villains. You're going to need, foot soldiers that they can happily dismember.
Sure, naturally.
Because you have to have that, and we can't
Yes.
do that to humans anymore. Thanks,
Well,
Batman
in Justice
versus
League, I'm
Superman.
pretty sure that we're going to be having those like parademons and stuff, right?
Looks like it, yeah.
Yeah, the stuff that. Oh God, here's the Joker again. Don't care.
See, this is the thing. If the Joker dies prior to the start of this movie, and we're getting a Harley who has basically lost the thing that defined her life and gave it form,
Yes.
lost the thing that made her literally who she is, and she's trying to come back, that's just a much more interesting character.
Yes, absolutely.
And for much of this film, that's exactly what she is.
Yes.
And God, she emotes so beautifully.
She's very, very
The
good.
scene when she's on the hood of the car,
Yeah.
when they all come
I
out,
really enjoy that scene
and
quite
she
a lot. Yeah.
visibly pulls herself together.
Yes.
Margot Robbie really makes that work. For
Yeah,
me.
yeah, no, she's absolutely stunning. The other thing, like, if we instead of focusing on the Enchantress and the giant blue laser beam and all that, if the Joker had actually been the villain,
Yep.
that would have also, I think that we could have made it work that way as well, where it's like, okay, well, we don't just have like this giant superpowered thing that we don't know and then that would also kind of help to explain why Flash and why Batman aren't really showing up. It's because, it's a much smaller scale. It's still deadly and still dangerous.
There was no
but-
reason to have them fighting an apocalyptic event.
Exactly. Yeah. We've got a bad guy who's like the worst bad guy. Let's send this team of bad guys to go deal with him.
Yeah.
And then like just the lines of conflict that you can have there and things like that. Where I think
Which, for what it's worth, over on the Marvel side of the divide, I think we generally do pretty well. We don't watch Ant-Man and wonder why Tony Stark isn't showing up.
Sure.
Because it's just not of that scale.
Yeah.
And I hope that we're going to continue to do that as we move forward. I should say, too, just to talk about the CW side of the DC verse,
Mm-hmm.
this is not a Marvel DC thing.
Sure.
I'm super into the DC characters. I think The Flash is great. Supergirl is
Did you
maybe...
listen to our Wonder Woman episode?
Exactly
we
right.
were all in.
And I
Supergirl
love Flash
series-
and Supergirl, and
Yeah. The Supergirl series, I think, is one of the best examples of superhero storytelling on television.
Yeah.
I love that show. So this isn't about, DC hate. This is just about
This movie is bad.
grimdark. Yes. Yes.
And I love Batman. I'm a huge Batman fanboy.
Yeah,
so.
sure.
Sure, of course.
And, thank you, Jared Leto. Thank you for making it so that Jack Nicholson isn't the worst Joker anymore.
Oh man.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I like Jack
golly.
Nicholson's Joker.
No, I've never hated him the way that people hate him. I like 89 more than most
See,
people. I
again,
think,
okay,
but-
so we just saw
That
Enchantress
was
show up in
another
the
cool
mirror
scene.
and then like slam the guy into it. This is again like just all
Such
of
a
the
great
visual
effect.
effects that we get with the Enchantress prior to her getting, I don't know, like cleaned up or whatever, like are so cool and really neat. And all this, like everything that we're doing right here, I think is really, really awesome.
Yeah. And again, we're getting a lot of Wanda. Anytime you've got a witch with a strong relationship with her brother.
Yep. hey, how's
Elizabeth
it going,
Olsen,
Maximus?
where are you? Where are you?
How's it going? They're not getting along right now in the comics, apparently, which is it hurts my heart.
Aw,
Yeah.
it'll come back around.
I hope so.
Someone needs to do a Maximoff family series like the Vision series.
Oh my god! Sorry. I probably
Wanda and
yelled a
Pietro
lot.
trying to live in a suburban street. It'd be pretty great.
Oh man. No, okay, what would have to happen is that we can't do this. We're doing a commentary on a DC movie. Anyway. I'm gonna do it anyway though. No, what happens is that somebody somewhere screws up. It's like the Wish episode of Buffy, right?
Yes,
Where like
there you go.
somebody does something and suddenly you've got Wanda and Pietro are there, and I guess
Aw,
Eric Lensher
I was
going to
say with Papa Magneto. Yeah.
Yeah, with Papa Magneto.
They'd have
Yep.
to reinstate him as the actual Papa.
Right. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. So at some point we are going to go through and do that the Scarlet Witch series comic run that happened last year, I think it was, and apparently. Just a trope within Marvel is that the Maximoff twins' parentage gets switched over like every 10 years.
Yep. They reboot that the way that DC reboots their universe.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I don't. Maybe they're like watching maybe it's intrinsically tied to the DCU somehow. Maybe Wanda is the Enchantress.
So here we have the Enchantress's brother playing Calamari Damacy with humans in the subway.
He's called Incubus, by the way.
This was the scene that we saw in the trailers and early teasers. Everyone was like, "Who is this guy?" And it turns out he's nobody.
He's
no-
nobody and we
absolutely
don't
no
care.
one.
Yeah.
We never even name him in the movie. The only reason why I know he's called Incubus is because the subtitles popped up at one point when he was talking
okay.
off screen. But we were keeping an eye out for that.
But I do like that sequence very much. The possessed figure going down onto the subway platform and just dropping dead, and then how eerie and creepy it is. I really love the idea of a small-scale story told in the DCU because metahumans can do anything.
Yeah.
And anything that happens could potentially be a metahuman threat. I love that. So, again, there are so many elements here that potentially work for me. And then the movie just gets so
Yeah.
And here
muddied.
we're on music cue number like 15.
Number 15, we're on introduction, like number 4.
It
Yeah.
really is just
So
the
many
soundtrack
music
that's playing in Hot Topic every time you walk
It
through the
is.
mall, isn't
Well,
it?
no, this is actually better than the soundtrack that's playing.
One of the jokes that I made when I talked about this when it first came out was that you don't actually have to see this movie. You just have to walk into a Hot Topic because they play music videos on the screens in there and just ask them to skip the music video every 15 seconds. Stand there for an hour and a half and you've seen Suicide Squad.
Basically, yeah.
So we've
This-
had the implanting of the little nanite
The blow-up
devices.
brains.
Those don't have to be
Yeah.
nanite devices, you guys. That word means a thing. It's
We
fine.
just had the guard give Harley Quinn the phone from the Joker.
Yeah.
And it really bothers me that that's the last time we ever see that guard because the Joker makes jokes about how he's going to show him some of his toys and hurt him. And then Harley Quinn's like, oh, you're in trouble. You never see him again.
No.
Yeah, Griggs is the worst, and I sure do wish that we had seen that guy get shot in the face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there should have been something else with him or just not have that dialogue foreshadowing something that never
Yep.
happens.
I
And
do like
here-
the sequences we're breaking into the lab here. There are some moments that I like. The guy in the panda suit doesn't really work for me, but the guy in the Batman mask
I love the guy in the panda suit.
reminds me of Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yes.
So I'm really looking forward to
I
that
love
now,
all
too.
these weird masks in this scene. It's one of the things that got me really excited about the trailer because I love weird masks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, and just okay. I have a question. Where was Joker just now? What was he doing?
He's recovering the nanite technology.
Okay,
so that he
can
could deactivate
turn
it
off
later.
The one
Yes.
in Harley's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again,
See, I
we're
missed that a
seeing
billion
fragments of a
times.
story that
Yeah.
was supposed to define the shape of this movie, which is why I think we oftentimes get, particularly from Rick Flag, who happens to be on screen right now, we get just line reads that are really shaky. Like the kind of thing that you would just shoot again. No,
Yeah.
no. Actually, this is what your motivation is. Do it again, but this time better. And I wonder how much material that was supposed to be the core plot was just thrown out, and how much of this movie was just,
Yeah.
well, this will be supporting, we'll do pickup, we'll do coverage, we'll do whatever.
Sure.
And it just doesn't hang together, which is also why I think we get very long sequences that should be much shorter because
Yeah.
we've got to pad the length of the movie.
Yeah.
Walking down the street or the bar scene or whatever. The bar scene
I do enjoy the bar scene quite a
Well,
bit.
we
So
know that the movie went through multiple revisions and multiple recuts. One of the things I heard people complain about is that they thought that DC didn't listen enough to the fans. But I think the problem here is that DC listened too much to the fans because they had this movie pretty much done by the time that Batman vs. Superman came out. And then people started complaining and they were like, oh, we got to do something. We got to change things. So they went back to a finished movie, as far as I know, and started recutting, reshooting, re-editing.
Right.
And just chopped this movie to hell. And one of the things that they did was when that second trailer came out, everyone fell in love with that trailer and said, this is an awesome trailer. So DC said, okay, that's a great reaction to that trailer. Let's get those people that made the trailer to come in and recut the film again. And because they got worried that that trailer didn't represent the film that they had.
and it clearly did not because I loved the trailer.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And so they had those people come in and recut it again. And I think you just can't cut a movie up that many times by that many different creative teams
Yeah.
and expect it to be cohesive in the end.
I would be very, very interested to see. Here we are in introduction like 16.
Yeah,
of
well, we're
all of our
40
characters.
minute in, and
Yeah.
this should be the start of the movie.
This
We've got
should
our
be
light
the
in the
start of
sky.
movie, yes.
Music
We've got our
cue.
team.
Yep.
Yep.
An
Yeah.
unnecessary music cue. I even read that they had to bring Jack White in because he had to see the scene his song was going to go into before he approved it. It's like, that's a lot of work for an unnecessary extra music cut, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he saw this scene and then approved it.
I guess so.
But there's Margot Robbie doing her thing.
Yeah.
And she's great, and I adore
Yeah.
her.
Again, Will Smith and Margot Robbie do fantastic in this
They
film.
have excellent
do.
chemistry.
Yeah,
have
they do. They
amazing
actually
chemistry
really
together.
They
do.
were in
Yeah.
some other movie that was, I don't even remember what it's called, but it's like some sort of one of those like thriller films where they're both like killers and being really sexy together. And the trailers looked great. They looked like they were having an excellent time.
I could believe it.
Wonderful chemistry.
Boomerang's pretty good. I like the way he jumps out of the bag and punches the guy right away. And then he's
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know if this was an extended scene or not. I missed it. But he says, oh, it's just
Hey,
having
here's
coffee with my
Slipknot. You guys
nun.
know Slipknot, right? Slipknot,
Yeah, Slipknot.
beloved character
Yeah,
Slipknot.
beloved character
Before the
Slipknot.
movie came out, I was on the podcast talking about it, and I said that he was going to die, when he was going to die, and how he was going to die.
That's brilliant. Yeah, well, here's the thing. We know that he's not important because he only got one introduction.
Yeah, and that's, I mean,
Just one.
Who just
Everyone else
gets
got four.
one?
He didn't even get like any words next to him. Unnecessary.
I'm
No
known to be
interview.
quite vexing, is a great line.
Yes.
I
No,
also love how bad Harley's accent is and how it slips through because it is supposed to be an affectation.
Yes.
It's just,
Yeah.
she's just great. No, there is absolutely a movie where, you can even have Captain Boomerang in it, but you make it Harley, you make it Deadshot, you make it Captain Boomerang, and that's it. That's everybody
Yeah.
you need. Even Diablo, I guess you could do a four-member team
Another
there.
music cue. Eminem.
Whoa, Eminem at
Which
1.5 speed. I
Eminem
do not recommend.
And White Stripes. if they're trying to get to like youth culture, they're like 10 years.
They
too
seriously,
late.
this is yours and my youth culture.
The thing about youth culture is they don't understand it. I don't like the way that we're kind of deliberately sexualizing Harley in this sequence as she's getting dressed and kind of restoring herself as she's kind of putting on not just, of course, her clothes, but her accoutrement. Yeah, it's her identity. It's her entire identity. And I don't like the way that she's being sexualized by the other characters in the when the music drops out and everyone is looking at her. Come on, movie. Come on. We know it's Harley. It's fine, but
the
come
stolen
on,
joke from Deadpool that Boomerang has a stuffed unicorn he carries around.
Yeah. It's not great.
But just think of how much better the movie would have been if we had started in this scene here.
Seriously,
Yeah,
yes.
this is our character introduction.
Yeah,
I'm
for
in.
real.
Yeah.
Bring up the words next to them as they come
Yep.
out. That's
Sure.
fine.
Yes,
Explain
absolutely.
it all here.
Actually, yeah, you know what? All 5 of them. I'll take all 5 of them.
Can you
in
light
this
a
scene,
cigarette
it's
with
really
your
good.
pinky? Because that'd be real classy.
There's some good lines.
I
There's some
really
good-
like
Yeah.
Harley.
I will say that the majority of the humor in here feels really poorly injected in because it was because
Yes.
they went back and cut it
Because it's
in.
all in that
Because
edit, yeah.
They saw how dark BVS was, how people were upset about that, saw how great Guardians of the Galaxy was and how excited people were about that, and said, let's make our movie more like that. So they just cut jokes in and did reshoots for these jokes. And you
Right.
can feel them shoehorned in. That doesn't make them not funny, though.
Sure.
I laughed a lot during this movie, during the time
I did too, yeah.
It was a funny movie.
And there are a couple turns that I really like. The idea that it is Waller that they're recovering.
Yeah.
I think they actually build that into the plot very, very nicely. That's a classic kind of conspiracy trope that I really enjoy.
And that's another thing. Viola Davis is actually really good.
Oh, yeah.
The character here isn't, though, and that's not her
Right.
fault.
Right. No,
where
Viola
she
Davis
falls
is a
short
gem.
is not her fault.
Oh, boy.
Also, here's Katana. Randomly,
Here's Katana for no
unnecessarily.
reason.
She doesn't get a bunch of introductions. She just gets the one. The one here, she gets another one at the end of the movie.
Right.
And it tells a little bit of her backstory unnecessarily. And then when you're wondering, why is she here and what's she going to do? Rick Flagg's just like, oh, she's with me. She's here to make sure you stay in line. Oh,
Well,
okay.
Rick-
Did she
why?
do anything in this movie?
Yeah.
Rick, if you're not like good enough to keep these people in line, why are
Why
you
are you
in
in
this
charge?
film?
Right.
What are you
also,
doing here?
Him saying her sword takes your soul when she cuts it. There's I think it was the How It Should Have Ended, where Harley says, oh, are we ever going to get to see that happen? And Flag goes, no. And Katana goes, no. And she goes, well, then why'd you bring it up?
Yeah. Because we want one scene at the end where she's talking to the spirit of her dead
Well,
husband.
gosh, okay, all right. Now I have a question because there definitely
Another
is a
music cue,
point.
by the way.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's definitely a point where Katana does slice the Enchantress like across the front of her because then that's how yeah, but like that happens. Why did that not take the Enchantress's soul?
Does
These
the
are good
Enchantress
questions.
have a soul? Ooh.
Because Katana wasn't supposed to be in this movie and it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, fine.
So she couldn't do anything that actually mattered.
Gosh, now I'm sitting here curious about like souls and
Really
how do souls
unnecessary.
work.
No, she's
don't
what?
understand
Just
what
in
Katana's
general, or
Yeah.
in Suicide Squad?
I mean, in general, but
Okay,
also
let's pivot away. We've talked a lot about comics and movies. Let's get into the theology, Sarah.
So a soul. So I've also been watching. I wish to God that we were watching Agents of Shield season 4 right now.
Oh, man, me
That's
too.
pretty much
I wish-
always true,
I wish
yeah.
that that's what we were watching because I have been super enjoying that. I've been loving that they're dealing with, all of the Ghost Rider stuff was amazing. I'm right in the middle of like the LMD arc that they're doing, and it's just absolutely fantastic. I'm loving that, and we're going about, through conversations about like, if a robot can think and feel and like do all the stuff on
There
its
you
own,
go.
like, is it a person? Well,
Yep.
no, it doesn't have a soul. Well, what is a soul? It's not like just your brain. It's not just in your body. And anyway, so it doesn't make sense for Katana to be here, for her to have that power. She uses her sword, and then nothing happens.
So anyway, Katana's trash, and we don't want her in this movie.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm
Also-
sure she's great.
No, she's a good character.
No, yeah,
she
she
really
is, and
has
she
no
can be
role
done
in this
really
film.
well.
And the problem is that her presence in this film does distract and detract from
Hey,
Rick
what's our
Flag.
timestamp right now? Because you're saying this is where we got to start the film. So we're
No,
gonna-
I think you can start with them coming in over the city.
Okay,
on the
so about
helicopter
2
and
minutes
into
ago,
that.
which
Yeah,
was
so this is 50
48
minutes now.
minutes
Yeah.
into this film is where you can start it, and you won't have missed anything,
Nope,
basically.
you will not have.
Hey, Slipknot, don't listen to this guy. Don't listen to this guy. He's going to steer you bad.
Right. And also, you just know, they put the Native American in the film. He's going to die.
Yeah.
They're going to kill him.
Which is a little uncomfortable.
He's just cannon
Which is
fodder.
Well,
weird.
I mean, if they had had any other... yeah, I mean, Will Smith stays alive because he's Will Smith.
Right. Also, talk about just Katana being unnecessary here. She said that she would cut your head off if you did anything. Almost cut Harley's head off for joking.
Yeah.
And then Boomerang throws a boomerang at her. One of the members almost escapes, and she just holds the sword to him. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Now that's
She
a
would've
killer
killed
app.
him.
God, that's such a bad fucking line. Ugh.
Are you sure? Are you sure you want to include that in your movie? Just, go walk around the block, shake it off. Just think about what you want your movie to be, and then come back and edit it
tell
out,
me
please.
if you want to really use those words.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to be fair, Slipknot was always going to die as a character in this movie because they weren't going to introduce him. No one knows who he is.
What's his power? Knots?
He's really good at ropes.
Yeah, it's a grapple hook. He has one Batman power.
Wait.
He's like 1 milli Batman.
Also, he's called Slipknot.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there should have been a Slipknot musical cue for him.
No, there shouldn't. No, there shouldn't. We're an inch away from them introducing a character called Lincoln Park.
But in the comic, he did have his bomb go off when he tried to escape, but it just took his arm.
Yeah.
So he survived that. So I don't know.
That's
I
really
guess
weird.
They were going to always kill him. I don't know. It just seems
movie
weird.
doesn't- I don't
He's just
understand.
there to explain, hey, those bombs work.
Yeah. We also don't need these other soldiers here. I don't know
really
what,
don't. I
what
don't
Task
understand
Force
why they're
X is
here.
for if we're going to send, you're the best of the best and the baddest of the baddest, and we're going to send you in also like 40 other
hang
soldiers.
on. We do need, there is one member of this soldier squad that we need, and it is the nameless, attractive man constantly
Who
by
saves
Rick,
the day?
who is literally the hero of the film.
Yes.
Sacrifices himself, puts the bomb up under the thing. Like,
And there were all sorts of theories that he was going to be Robin in disguise.
yeah, and he
Wow.
just straight up dies. You never learn his name. He gets called GQ. I don't know what that means. It's a men's magazine. Maybe it's because he's so pretty.
hey guys,
which,
look.
oh shit, I'm into that theory now.
It's
Yeah.
one of the main beat 'em up bad guys of the film here. The Power Rangers putty.
It is
Yeah.
yes, they're basically putties. You're right.
So they're no longer people, right? They used to be people, and now
they're not, which I'm actually
Moldy?
okay with. Yeah,
They're
they're
moldy people.
somehow, but also
Zombies.
weirdly
Putty
stony,
zombies.
I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, they're very similar to the army that Charlize Theron had in The Huntsman, Snow White and the Huntsman.
Wow.
You know, I referenced that movie a lot, like a lot. I saw it one time. I guess Charlize Theron just really stood out to me in that film.
Thank you, Suicide Squad, for teaching us so much
Katana?
about ourselves.
Katana, do you mind not cutting up the innocent people that were changed by Enchantress and stealing their souls into your sword?
Yeah, is
That's
that
not
happening?
cool.
Nope,
Katana.
souls already gone. Nope, there are no
Okay,
souls in the
so-
putties.
All right,
They're fine.
So if you're evil, do you have a soul?
But we should definitely. You're right. Every time we introduce, that concept, it just distracts from the rest of the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Katana's magic sword is completely unnecessary.
Yep.
It
Katana,
really, really is.
completely unnecessary. In
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
one.
I don't know why
addition
she's
that was not
here.
needed.
Oh, there goes his little unicorn.
Poor you.
I hate that joke.
Well, we
It's-
didn't have our 3D glasses to experience it properly. So.
Oh my gosh, I cannot imagine what a clustercuss this movie would have been in 3D.
I saw.
No,
I didn't see it in 3D. I
GQ.
didn't see it in 3D. Huh.
Oh wait, that wasn't GQ.
That wasn't. No,
Flag.
that's Flag. We don't
Oh,
care
I
about
don't
him.
care about
no,
Flag.
take him. That's
No,
fine.
shit.
Do the thing.
If he dies, we die. Damn it.
But even
Oh,
then,
man.
even in this completely unnecessary action sequence, we get that moment between Deadshot and Harley.
love Harley.
It's so good.
This is the part of the film where I started noticing that the budget was way too spent on music, and not because there was too much music at this point, but because the sets all look like sets.
Yeah, they
This
really do.
Yeah,
looks
they
like
don't
a
look
live
good.
stage
It does look like
performance
downtown
to me.
Sunnydale, doesn't it?
It does. Oh my god, this is downtown Sunnydale.
This is not a real street. That is
Yeah.
not real concrete. None of that is real concrete. It all looks like foam.
That's so bizarre.
How do you feel about Deadshot's demonstration of his real skill, I suppose? Just
I
this
don't
utter
care. I
lethality.
saw him when he was at the prison doing
Yeah.
his thing with shooting.
Oh,
the...
hey, yeah, that scene right there means we didn't need any of those introductions.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
of
you're
him
exactly
shooting.
right. Wow. Yep. It would. Okay. I don't suggest that we do this anytime soon because now all of us have seen this movie twice within the last 24 hours. But in a couple of months, we should try to watch this movie again, but start it right as they're coming into the city
Okay.
and see how that affects our
I'm
opinion.
going to say no. I'm going to say no, Sarah. And honestly, your right to suggest movies for Excelsior is now under serious consideration by Visman and I. Hey, you know what we should do that would be hilarious? Watch Suicide Squad. No.
I'm sorry, are
so-
you not having a good time?
Wait,
Having a good time with you.
So we're not going to get together every Thanksgiving and watch this movie and podcast about it?
Oh my gosh.
That really would be the worst idea ever.
Oh man. We would call it we would
That's
call
my
it
cell phone
Alistair's
that I
cell
can't,
phone is
that I can't
ringing.
edit out now because of how this is theoretically a commentary
We're very
track.
professional.
Uh-oh.
See, all of this stuff usually makes it to the gag reel. We're not going to get into gag reel.
That's
This
this
is
entire
just
thing is
it.
a gag
You know
reel.
what? Since this is already just a disaster,
If
I'm
you-
going to go get another beer.
Okay, hey, yeah, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick.
Oh no, I'm by
Hold down the
myself.
fort. There's a light in
here
the sky. Do
talking.
your thing.
All right. I hope everyone enjoys this time with Vinton by himself watching Suicide Squad. Everything seems very entertaining. I hope you can hear Sarah laughing as she makes her way through the house. So we have now the Enchantress making out with people to turn them into the moldy putty, which is very interesting. And they grow millions of eyes or just lots of bubbles. I am not sure which. We're once again...
I'm kind of loath to return. This is my favorite podcast now.
We're once again reminded that they're the bad guys by Harley Quinn. Thank you.
Wait, they are?
There's a
okay,
running commentary.
I wanted to ask you about this. What is up with the giant Watchman button in the back of that
that's a good
shot?
question. Man, I wish they would have like shot it and something would have like crumpled
Yeah,
down.
or thrown some like jelly at it or something.
Yeah.
It's so weird and obviously iconic in the DCU. It's such a strange reference
I forgot
to
that
make
was
in
there
this film.
because in the extended version, there's a longer scene there and it's more distracting because Will Smith's character is talking to Rick Flag and trying to make a deal. And Rick Flag's like, don't worry about Waller. I can pull my own strings, which adds a whole new weight to later in the film where Waller's off and Deadshot's like, oh, no, my part of the thing's done. You need to give me my prize now. And he's like, oh, well, without Waller, there's no prize. Basically saying, I was lying. I don't have any strings I can pull.
Rick, you're the worst.
Yeah.
So, Vinton, are you reading any DC right now?
I'm reading Batman, which led me to read some Flash because of the new button.
Oh, because of the button,
Watchmen,
right.
and I'm not very
Hi,
interested.
Sarah.
Welcome back. And I'm reading anything with Damian Wayne in it, pretty much.
Okay,
Sons,
sure.
Teen
How
Titans.
is Super Sons?
Super Sons is fantastic.
Yeah?
I love it because it's basically young Batman and young Superman palling around together.
I'm really into that. I need to borrow this
But
from
almost to the
husband.
nth degree because Superman's even more naive and Batman's even more of a jerk.
That's
The Robin
hilarious.
there.
Harley in the elevator. I mean, because we've just watched Winter
Captain
Soldier.
America.
Yeah. It's not my favorite elevator fight sequence, but it is good.
It's good. Yeah,
It's pretty good. I like how she runs up the wall there. That's
I
pretty
really
cool.
like the moment where they all enter the building and they're talking about plans and Harley just going up the elevator. Bye, guys.
Yep.
That's what we need from Harley.
Yeah, we really do need her to be like the ultra chaos, like just running off and doing. Like, I mean, yeah, if the Joker had not been in this film, then she basically becomes a Joker surrogate, and she's the one like just causing all the problems and everything, and that would have been so much more interesting.
You've just done it. That's it. Harley as the sequel to the Joker is an excellent direction for the DCEU to go right now. Yeah, I could be into that.
Because here's the thing, no one's gonna do better than Heath Ledger, right?
No one's going to do that version of the Joker better than Heath Ledger.
Which is definitely my preferred version.
My favorite version of the Joker is Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
Oh, from the cartoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does it, and
All my
also
cartoon
the
versions.
Arkham games, right?
And the Arkham games, yeah.
Yeah. I do wish that while Will Smith does a really good job as Deadshot, I wish that they would have cast someone else so that he could have worn the mask more often because obviously Will Smith isn't going to wear that mask.
Right, yeah.
They're not
Well, you
gonna
cast
want him
Will
to.
Smith so that you see
They
it's Will
paid him a
Smith.
lot of money for his face to be shown. But I really like the mask. The mask is
The
done
mask
really
is
well.
pretty cool, yeah.
It's fantastic.
How do you guys feel about this fight scene here in the office building?
I think it was either you or your husband last night pointed out that women often kill people with their thighs.
Oh yeah, that was me.
Or
Yep,
attack people with their
A
thighs.
woman's greatest superpower is her thighs. They just, I mean, Black Widow does it all the time, just
It's true.
constantly
Yeah.
burying Bucky's face between her legs.
Okay. Normally that's where I'd mark an edit point, but right now I'm just going to leave Sarah to giggle in the podcast. It'll be fine.
I do like that Boomerang's character is shown here. He's diving down to the bottom, crawling through, not wanting to get hit by bullets.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
out for himself throughout the whole thing. Deadshot is pushing Diablo to use his powers finally.
Hey,
and
remember when he
does.
was in that Pirates of the Caribbean movie?
I don't want to.
You remember, right? You remember he was there? I don't think he had lines then.
And I do like this line from Will Smith. Again, Will Smith really kills it in this movie. I was just trying to get you there. We're
Yeah.
cool, right?
And the kiss from Harley.
Yeah.
Harley,
No,
this-
that's
that
great.
makes sense.
Again,
That's great.
character introduction, there it is.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
everything. If
Yeah.
Diablo's
Perfect.
just in this movie and we know nothing about him up
Yep.
until that point, and that's what he does, that's really effective.
Yeah.
This is the problem, I think, with a lot of the DC movies, and this one more than most. It reeks of insecurity. It is hot topic, not just in like visual style, not
but
just
also
in
like
aesthetic.
in like Creed.
Yeah, in this kind of very insecure teenage desire to please and desire to impress
And to belong and to be
Yes.
a part of
we
something.
just want to be cool, you guys. We're just trying
yeah.
so hard to be cool. And if you
yeah.
back up, then you get a much more assured tone about
God,
your
Margot
film.
Robbie is beautiful though.
She is.
She really is.
We have a
Unnecessarily
flashback
pretty.
scene when she's still with the glasses. and with the normal skin.
Yep.
About to be.
I guess whenever you get dropped into a vat of adhesive X, you don't need prescription glasses anymore.
She's not Baron Zemo in this one.
I don't care. Any vat of boiling whatever from this point forward, I am going to believe is adhesive X.
Perfect.
But this is interesting to me, this scene, especially in the extended edition when we get a little more of Harley Quinn and Joker, where it's showing that Joker didn't really care for Harley Quinn at all.
No, he just doesn't
this
give a
point.
shit.
This is
Yeah.
the point for some reason, because we got another flashback in the extended edition where she was trying to get him and he was just not having it, didn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, and she
But then
kept saying, I've
apparently
done
that led-
everything for you. I did everything you asked. You have to love me. You have to love me.
But apparently that led to this, where she was willing to sacrifice herself, and then all of a sudden he's like, okay, I'll save you then.
But we're also doing something obviously unintentional, because if we were doing it on purpose, it would have resonance throughout the entire film. But this is the second time that a man has jumped into water to save Harley in the last hour. Because we did it with Batman when they crashed off of the bridge, and now we're doing it with the Joker. But there's no echo there. There's no
You've
resonance
ever been
at
in love?
all.
God, I love this moment.
This is so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah.
Oh, man.
And she knows he's lying.
Yep. Yeah. You ever been in love? No. Bullshit. God, she's so good. I wish this movie did her justice.
Yeah,
I
and
really
later
wish that.
when she hears that he has a daughter, you can see it in her face. She's like, I knew it. I
Yeah.
knew you knew
Yeah.
love.
That was actually one of the interesting things, and one of the probably the only thing I appreciated about the extended edition is that Harley ends up with a lot more lines that are very. She's psychoanalyzing all of these people.
Yeah.
Like, even though she
I
is
want that.
completely
I
insane,
want
like
that
she
thing.
straight up is like,
Yeah.
oh, so you're doing this. Like, she's like listing off.
Because she's
like,
really smart.
Yeah, she confronts Katana and is basically listing off all this stuff. She's like, oh, you're an only child, you got daddy issues, blah, 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 and all this stuff. And she's just going around doing that to everyone in the squad.
That's the problem with her in the comics and in the animated series and here is that she is really, really capable, but she is super reliant on others. She's super
Yeah.
reliant on the
Yeah.
Joker, so she never lives up to her potential because she doesn't believe in herself as a single individual.
Yeah.
In the animated series, one of the episodes that she's known for, the one that really showed her relationship with Joker, Mad Love, that I mentioned earlier, she captures Batman and has him ready to be killed. She could kill him any moment, but she wants Joker to get the kill, so she calls Joker, and Joker's so upset that she caught him when he couldn't that he like turns the whole thing off and throws her out a window.
That's
Yeah.
messed up. They have a bad
Joker.
relationship.
He looks at
This
Batman
is
and
not
says, "I'm sorry."
hashtag
about
relationship
her."
goals.
No, this is anti-relationship
No,
goals.
yeah, it's
Okay.
a bad relationship, guys. It's an
What do you
abusive
think of the reveal here that Waller is the target, that she is the focus
If I
of their
remember
mission?
right, when I saw this movie in theaters, at this point I was just like, wait, what? Like, I was so, there was
Oh,
so,
really?
yeah, I was confused.
I must admit, when we got to this point, I thought, well played, movie. I didn't see
In
that
the
coming. That's a
extended
nice turn.
edition, there is a couple more hints.
Oh,
at that
really?
being the truth.
Oh.
It's never said, but there's a few
Right.
hints about it. Like Deadshot at one point asks, "Oh, we're going to this building. Who's in that building?"
Yeah.
okay.
Which I maybe would have been able to be more impressed. But at this point, I'm like, oh, it didn't strike me as like clever or really interesting. It struck me as I have no idea where we are, what we're doing, what's
Fair.
going on.
Fair. What do we think of the sequence with Amanda Waller executing the other techs, I guess, in the office?
Seems
the true villain, right?
unnecessary.
Headshot,
right?
headshot.
Yeah.
There it
I think
is.
Deadshot deserves to be in prison, but Amanda Waller doesn't.
There it is. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't get it.
Sarah,
guys. Batman
your
should be
husband
called
Nathan
Amanda Waller.
is a big Amanda Waller fan.
Yes.
What was his response to her depiction? Because this is not really consistent with
Yeah,
the
we
comics.
actually talked about this a little bit when we were watching the movie the other night. Vinton came over. We had steak dinner. It was really delicious and wonderful.
It was
If I do
delicious.
say so
Thank you,
myself.
Sarah.
I was very
I
proud.
was working. I mean, it was fine. I would have been
Those
there.
were the
but
best steaks I think I've made, maybe ever. But
I do
anyway.
like Joker's tuxedo here, by the way.
Oh, yeah,
I
it's
do
pretty
like
good.
costuming.
But so I was asking my husband Nathan about Amanda Waller because he really does like Amanda Waller,
Yeah.
and he was just kind of explaining her to me and all of this. And he said, he really liked Viola Davis in this movie and thought she does a great job. Not a great Amanda Waller though.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was talking about how Amanda Waller basically is. She's willing to do, bad things for the ultimate good to be done.
Hold on, that really bothers me. He is staring at her, saying her nanite's disarmed. You have guns.
Yeah.
Why did
Yeah.
you not just shoot her
Yeah.
in the
I
head?
really wanted to use my app. I
Doesn't make
love
any
this
sense.
app.
Waller would have been like,
Shoot that woman
what do you
right
mean
now."
Her Bob's disarmed. Pull your gun out. You're staring
I-
at
I-
her.
And she
I
also just
pushed the
headshotted
button.
everybody in the
Yeah.
room. She could have shot Harley.
She could have done it.
I pushed the button and
So
it makes
weird.
a little head explosion gif, though. I really wanted to see it.
But anyway, yeah, Nathan doesn't really love this version of Amanda Waller.
This is problematic because this is an example of the ramshackle structure of this movie. There's actually no reason why Harley had to be right there and why we end up with this plot hole of, well, why not just shoot her then?
Right,
why do we have to turn to Deadshot to shoot her? Because no one does anything for 35 seconds.
Right, yeah.
If we just put a little more thought into it, we could have separated her from the rest of the team and this
Well,
would
and
have
I
been
mean,
trivial.
and you don't even have to have, like, I mean, I guess that the reason Deadshot has to, like, pretend to shoot her or whatever is because otherwise Waller is going to, like, blow up his skull. But I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of a mess. Like, why was any of that
But
necessary?
then he turns around and says, I missed.
Yeah.
I do
Come
like
on
that.
now.
I do like that scene though where he shoots and it looks like Harley dies. She falls and then she just poses.
Yeah.
I like that. It's really done well.
It's
I really like
really
Did they
that.
have a
Yeah.
conversation about that was going to happen? Like,
No,
did she?
I think she
There's
just
a few
hears the
moments-
gunshot.
Yeah.
There's a few moments in here, especially
very smart, I
especially
guess.
at the very end when they do like their big teamwork fight.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, did you talk about this before? Because this would take a plan.
Seriously,
this would take you
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
what to do.
See, that's why I love the
that's
X-Men,
where
because we get to see
Harley
them
Quinn
I
goes
practice
hate
the
how
fastball
this
special.
Joker is just constantly
Second helicopter going
grunting
down, by
and
the way.
hollering and
He's-
just yelling and not
Unwatchable.
unwatchable.
He's like a
Basically
cat in most
unwatchable.
scenes. He's like,
Yeah, it's really
like, what
bad.
are you doing? What is that
Yeah.
noise you're making?
Why
it's
are
a,
you
it's
doing
a
that?
Joker noise.
Yeah,
No, I don't think it is, though.
That's unpleasant. Don't do
I don't
that.
think he hisses.
please stop.
You're not
please.
Catwoman. So now we've had 2 helicopters crash, and Amanda Waller says, "Oh, I'm going to get in
Not
the helicopter."
helicopters, not helicopters, helos.
Right. Sarah pointed out that helicopters apparently are fine. It's helos that you don't want to get into.
Which is the weird shorthand that we've chosen for this movie. Every time they're talking, they never say chopper, they never say copter, they always call them helos. And I don't
heroes.
understand.
I think we should just call them heliochopters. I think that's the best solution.
Which this is one of the lessons I've learned from this film: never get in a helicopter.
Well, but also-
if you do, you will walk away.
That's
without a
exactly
scratch
it.
when wrests.
Crashing in
how
a
we-
helicopter
yeah.
apparently super
We know that
safe,
the
you
Joker
guys.
is fine, right?
Yeah.
Like, no one so far has died in a
Because no,
helicopter.
this is a 3-beat right now, which makes the reveal of the Joker at the end completely superfluous.
Yeah.
It's
Doesn't
movie,
matter.
movie.
Who
We
cares?
know.
Oh yeah, I
Hey,
forgot
Hopper, what's
that
up?
he shows up at the end of the movie. I was okay when we were watching this last night. I started talking like at length about how sad it was that June Moon just straight up dies and we
Yeah.
never resolved that, and like how we never just deal with it, and like what a bummer. And then my husband is just looking at me funny, and I go, "Wait, does she survive?" And he was like, "Babe, yeah,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, she's right
fine."
there. She gets the happy ever after.
I'm like, I've seen this movie. This is the 3rd time I've seen this movie. I don't remember anything about this film. Oh
So
my
this
gosh! And here's
sequence,
Margot
yeah.
Robbie being brilliant.
Sitting on the car in the rain, taking off the pudding necklace,
Yeah.
choker, I guess.
She doesn't know what to do. She's so codependent
Yeah.
on the Joker that with a life without him, she doesn't know how to live.
Yeah.
But she is so much who she is. As soon as other people see her, the mask is back on.
Yes. Oh, it's so good.
Like, that is legitimately
fantastic.
great. That belongs in
I
a
miss
much
you
better film than
guys,
this.
she
Yes.
says.
And of course, that connection with Deadshot, he sees right through her. She knows it. It's genuinely intimate.
Yeah.
And it's an intimate male-female relationship in a superhero movie that isn't sexual. And we
Yeah.
still somehow don't have many of those.
Yeah.
I'm
and
into
I like
that.
I really like that a lot.
They're like Cap and Nat, kind of.
They're like Cap and Nat, kind of. Yes.
And now the bad guy has
Oh,
her
yeah.
heart.
Hey, you guys remember how we were fighting like some Aztec gods or some shit?
Hey, remember the thing that Odin sent down to kill Thor in the city in New Mexico? The destroyer with the bands
Mjolnir?
of metal. No. The big destroyer in the
Oh,
first
the
one with the
destroyer,
bands of
yeah,
metal
yeah,
that
yeah.
looks just like the antagonist in this movie or the villain,
Also,
monster.
it just occurred to me, if Waller still had her heart this whole time, why didn't she just like smash it?
Seriously?
Would that not have like at least helped things, if not put an end to things?
It would have killed her, apparently.
Yeah,
that would have done
think
it.
So just
Is the only reason why Waller didn't
Smash
do
it,
it was
Waller.
because she still wanted like to be able to have the Enchantress's power to keep using that? Because like
I think we're past that point, Waller. I really
Yeah.
think
yeah.
Yeah, I
at
don't know.
some point, listen, at some point you gotta look at your super powered lackeys and determine whether or not what you've done have been good choices.
Yes.
I always appreciate it when one of the characters in the film says what I'm thinking. Let me guess, we're gonna go to that big light with the trash circling around in the sky.
Yep.
Yeah, let me guess.
No,
This
no.
is
The Guardians of the
Ghostbusters
Galaxy are taking
all
care
a
of that
sudden.
one.
Yes.
The one next
No, it's
to
the
it.
one over there. Yeah.
That's
No,
actually
that's
Superman.
that's the Ghostbusters remake.
Ghostbusters
that's,
are there.
that's the Ninja Turtles movie that came out the same
I
summer.
think Transformers is down the block.
So many lights, not enough sky.
Also, Deadshot throws a notebook at Flag and misses.
Well, he wanted to just get his attention.
I don't know. I
And then
think
we
he
get
wanted
all
to hit
this
him.
stuff of like these scenes from earlier with June Moon and the Enchantress and the bomb underneath, and like we oh my god, like just shattered through those earlier,
No.
and now it's like, okay, here's what really happened.
This is a D&D game. This is, by this point, you're running the game and your players have gone so far off the rails that you've no idea what to do. So you're like, okay. Flashback. Before all of this, there was a bomb. It's like they were editing this in real time.
It's like they were doing a commentary track.
Also, if you want your top secret folder not to be read, don't write top secret all
Don't
over
write
it.
top
Just
secret.
act like it's a normal
Also,
folder.
maybe
Boring
you just
tax
keep
documents.
it in like a 2-inch binder.
Right.
Like they make briefcases with locks on them. We've already seen in this movie
hold on.
that there's like biometrically, sealed
Okay,
shit.
I
So
just
we're-
found a notebook. It looks like a normal notebook. I don't want to read it. This one says top secret though. I want to read it. I want to read that one.
So
I
we're moving into
love-
the bar scene.
Yes.
And there's an interesting beat there while we're out on the street where now that the truth about Flag's relationship with June Moon has been revealed, to no one's great surprise or concern whatsoever, Katana has just turned her back on him completely and is now hanging out with the Suicide Squad. Good job,
shit.
Katana.
Yep.
Great job. Yeah, there's a little beat where she like looks at him in disgust, turns on her heel, and walks into the bar.
I totally missed that.
Why did we hire you? This is your
also-
actual job.
Wait,
Maybe-
was she only here because like she had a big old crush on Flag and
That
didn't
might be
know
it.
about her
Oh,
relationship
that might
with
be
June
it.
Moon?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe I just missed it, but maybe it was only in the extended version where I think it's Deadshot or someone says drinks honor amongst thieves or something like that, and she goes, "I'm not a thief," and moves to the end of the bar,
Yes.
away from them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really like that. That's a good beat.
Okay. Captain Boomerang's the only one who's a thief.
Yeah.
Literally the only one.
Well,
None of these other people are thieves.
are Harley and Joker not occasionally thieves?
Harley will
Harley.
steal incidentally, but she
Yeah,
doesn't
the other one-
self-identify
Okay,
as a
alright, yeah,
thief. She
incidental
self-identifies as a
theft.
villain.
The other ones are murderers.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's true.
Honor among rascals.
Honor among
scoundrels.
Yeah, here's
Honor
the thing.
Among Scoundrels would be
Scoundrel
a
Squad would
great-
not be a
yes.
great movie.
The Scoundrel
I will
Squad?
say I do like the backstory for Diablo here. His
I do
wife,
too.
his children. That's the way it is in the comics. Pretty
Yeah.
similar there. It's really nice. He has an anger problem. And he accidentally killed the ones that meant the most to him, and so he became a pacifist after that. And he's like trying.
I
to
do enjoy
not
this
be that
quite a lot,
person.
actually.
It's really good.
And it does set him apart from the
rest of
other
the squad.
villains
Yeah.
because he has this profound humanity, and it's also one mistake. This also reminded me of Wanda. It reminded
Yeah.
me of Scarlet Witch because one mistake is all it takes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I really like Diablo. I really like what we do with his character. I don't like the use to which he is put in the
Yes.
end of the movie.
Yes.
But in terms of his character arc, he works really quite well for me.
Also, one of the worst Harley lines ever. Normal as a setting on a dryer or washer, or whatever she says here for in a second.
Yeah.
You also don't
that
like
line
the
really
line,
bothers
own
me.
that shit, right? Was it you or Nathan who
I think
really...
it was Nathan.
Yeah.
I don't care for it necessarily.
Yeah.
What I don't like is
Oh.
when here in a second when she's told you might be beautiful on the outside, but you're ugly on the inside by Boomerang, as if he's like a moral compass all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And then it becomes an after school special of them all being like, you know what, we're just the same. We're family. We're buddies. We're one of the, we're blood
Look,
brothers
it has been
here.
in my experience in Found Family that the way that you grow closer is like through fights and bars.
That might be true, but
I gotta
they
say,
grew closer through having bombs put in their necks, being thrown together in this battlefield, and really hating each other up until one of them said, "You know what? You're ugly on the inside," and they were like, "Oh, you're right."
I actually
be
really
family with
like
you now.
Own Your Shit.
Yeah.
I like that specifically from Harley, specifically right now,
Mm-hmm.
because she has just lost everything. She now literally doesn't know who she is.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to read that as she's trying to deal with this surge of guilt within her
Mm-hmm.
because she has done truly terrible things for someone who is now, as far as she's concerned, dead.
Mm-hmm.
There's a dimensionality to that characterization that I like a lot.
I also love that Harley, was a bartender at some point.
Yeah,
Did
I
she
love that
bartend to
too.
put herself through
She's good at
school?
it.
I'm into it.
I believe it.
She went to
yeah.
college.
Yeah.
You don't see it quite as much in this, but like especially in the extended edition, you watch her make everyone's drinks, and I mean she's like flipping bottles and all this stuff. No, it's actually really charming and good.
This really bothers me that Flag comes back with a sob story about how he's in love with this girl. And all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, we understand. I mean, I get that Deadshot sees the letters from his daughter and is upset and is like, you know what? I'm going to do this and make this happen just so I can rub it in your face and see my daughter.
Yeah.
But they all unite around him. And then even at the end, they call each other family. And it's like, he's the guy that was threatening to kill you the whole time, comes in and says, guys, I'm really in love with this girl. And you're like, oh, let's help this guy out.
Is still, by the way, threatening to kill you. Still has that app.
Also, what would have made this work so much better is if he would have realized he was being manipulated by Waller and said, guys, I'm with you. I was being manipulated too. I didn't know. That would have been such a better unifying theme there that would have brought him into that family.
Absolutely.
And would have made so much more sense.
If it had been something like where he realized, or he talks about, I've lost June to the Enchantress. June is gone. And we've got to go take care of this.
Also, it makes sense that Captain Boomerang got up and left when that happened. He's like, oh, I can leave. I'm out.
Bye.
But then he comes back here for no reason, which I assume, Nathan disagreed with me on this, but I really do assume that the DC people that were making this film saw the film, saw what he was doing and went, oh, we wrote him out of the film toward the end, but everyone really loves him. Let's write him back in.
Yeesh.
Because there's no reason for him to get up there and leave and then just show back up.
Yep, just strolls back in.
Also,
I assume that it's part of a plot that was cut. I assume that there was something,
so
maybe
weird.
even something Joker related that was happening there that
that
they
would be
just cut
interesting.
right out.
The boomerang drone, is that what you're about to bring
Yeah,
up
I was
there?
talking about that.
How a boomerang drone doesn't work? And
First of all, boomerang drones don't work. How is that camera that still? And then my husband Nathan came up with the idea, oh, well, there's a fidget spinner on top, and the camera's sitting on the fidget
But
spinner.
even then, the boomerang goes to a certain point and then just stops and
And then just hovers.
surveils.
So it's not a hummingbird.
He's not allowed to use fidget spinners. That belongs to the other DC hero, the fidget spinner.
Captain Fidget Spinner?
Captain Admiral Fidget Spinner.
Sergeant Spinner? Oh, man.
This is
Bye, Killer Croc. See ya.
okay. If you could just go Killer Croc and be incidental to the climax of the film, that would be great.
That'd be great, thanks.
We just need you to be underwater for a while. This is such wasted potential. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the actor's name. I adore him. It is
Yes.
the actor who played Mr. Echo on Lost and played Malekith's sidekick in Thor: The Dark World.
Oh.
He is magnificent and he is utterly, utterly wasted. Though I do love the decision to give Killer Croc this Creole accent.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Oh, here we see Katana talking to
yeah.
the sword. You want to talk about...
Here's our katana introduction,
Yeah.
our second katana introduction, the more prevalent katana introduction. I don't know. This is really shoehorned in here where there's like, oh, and Katana, her backstory. Now that we have a moment, the world's ending, but let's just take a moment and pause and talk about Katana's backstory for no reason at all.
I would so love if this movie was that conscious of like backstory and exposition. That would be great. Rick,
Well, and then...
we need to trust you. Give us your backstory and
Was
exposition.
it Nathan that was talking about how what he really, really wanted was like whenever
yeah.
you're seeing Katana talk to the sword and you see all the smoke and all that stuff, but then when you cut to the other character's POV, it's just a sword.
Yeah, that would be
would've
really
been
good. That would be
cool.
really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But see, that's the kind of confidence that this movie utterly
Does
lacks.
not have.
Yeah.
Because if they had done that, they'd have been like, but then will they get it? Will they get it?
I don't know if they'll
Do you think
understand.
they'll get it?
So it's interesting to me that they really hid what was going to be the antagonist of this film, what was going to be the apocalyptic force of this film in the trailers and all the teaser things. And I think at first everyone was like, oh, they're hiding because they have this big reveal. I think they were hiding it because they were ashamed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
They
I think
realized
so
that they
too.
did not do good and that they
These-
just ripped off every other blockbuster and they just stole the plot completely from Justice League Dark because Enchantress doing all this is completely taken from the Justice League Dark story,
Really?
which they were
Huh.
also planning a movie for that's now in production hell
Oh,
because
well.
they already
Wow.
stole its story.
These visual effects are just lackluster. They are not impressive.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't
she looks weird now. The place
Care for the
doesn't fit.
performance. That little
Why
weird
is she
fidgety
wiggling
thing
her
is-
hips so much? I don't understand.
And why is she so bright and colorful when everything around her is super dark?
This
That's weird to
feels like they're going for like a full body replication of what Wanda does with her hands. It's
yeah.
that weird.
And they were like, you know that thing
speed
that Lizzie
ramped-
Olsen can do?
Okay.
Like, can you do that with your whole body?
I have to interrupt because I
Yes.
hate this so much.
is the-
This,
This should
Harley
not
and
be Harley's
Joker-
dream sequence.
Yeah, no.
He's wearing false teeth and has false eyebrows on there. By the way,
Good lord.
that's why his mouth looks all big because he's wearing false teeth.
This is a moment to give real humanity to Harley.
Yeah.
Now that she's been broken away from the Joker, now that he is dead, she can envision something else, something that is for her.
Right.
Being
Well,
this
and I don't know,
suburban mom.
maybe because she thinks that she just lost him. Maybe it makes sense that would be her dream sequence.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense. I think you can justify it, but I don't like the way that we normalize Harley in that way.
Yeah.
I want
Now,
something better for her.
This is what I do love. I love that Diablo gets the vision with his family. Everything he ever wanted. His is perfect.
Yes.
And he says, no, this
Yeah.
is not okay. And he
because
breaks out of
Diablo
it.
is honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
so good. That's such a great moment.
It
there.
really
I
is.
love it.
We should also talk, I guess we've made it a surprising distance into the movie without talking about this. Is it weird that this is the most diverse DC movie to date?
Oh, man. Oh, boy. This movie is so bad. Oh, no. Why? But, okay, not because I do not think that, I mean, generally, I think that most of the performances in this movie are very, very good. The performances I don't like tend to come from white men in this film.
Almost exclusively,
Almost
in fact.
exclusively, yes.
Oh, no, that's not good, but you're right.
Yep, yes. I do think that this is an editory... It was like just an editing nightmare. I think the structure is, I mean, God, we are like, this movie is flaming scaffolding the entire time. Like, not just we had to put up a lot of scaffolding, but also we set it on fire because
we didn't mean
you guys
to.
like that, right?
We
you like bright lights
I don't
and
know.
shit.
We spent a lot of money on speakers so that we can just play all
I
of these
lost one
expensive
family. I'm
musical
not going to lose another one.
Yeah, we're
What?
family now.
We're family now.
More like acquaintances, maybe?
Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know your real name, Diablo.
Up till like an hour ago, you weren't even willing to fight with us.
Yeah.
A lot has changed since that drink you had. Wait, you just had water. You didn't even drink with us.
That's a good idea, honey. Oh, and hey, it turns out that he's an Aztec god.
Our Latino character randomly turns into an Aztec god in the last moment of the film.
We
to
don't
save
know the
everything.
origin of his power. I like to think that he was in some kind of temple, picked up some kind of mystical jewel. Like this is the origin
He
of
was
his
a bad
power.
archaeologist.
He's also a bad archaeologist.
Everything in the
It's
DCU.
him. It's June Moon. It's Kane Marco. It's you just can't
no,
trust
it all
people.
comes back to archaeology.
Yeah, don't do it.
You think all of that bothered me. Here's what bothers me the most. What takes out this other godlike character? A small
Incubus,
bomb below
a
him.
bomb.
A small bomb
Yep.
below him. Why did we not just drop a bomb on this building to begin with?
Here's the thing.
That's
I
an
think
excellent
that first of all, because if they tried to use a helo to do it, the helo would have crashed.
They didn't know that at that point.
They didn't
at
know
that
that
point,
at that
they
point.
didn't have any helos crashing.
Right, exactly. If they had tried to send in a plane, I'm worried that it would get into the big, like, swirly light beam thing. I don't really know. Anyway, here's my guy. Here's the hero of the story. Just straight up, where you at, bud? There
There
you
he
go.
is.
Bye.
Good job, guy.
I loved you.
Okay, we've joked about it. That really, really should have been Killer Croc. There is no
Yeah.
reason to include him in this film unless he's the one who's going to make
Right,
the sacrifice.
no,
And he
they
can
had Killer
survive.
Croc held back
That's
by,
fine.
like, the putties,
Yeah.
and instead let this
See,
rando dude.
All they would have had to do is something that they did in the comics, which is when they're trying to inject his bomb, they have a hard time because he has really thick, hard skin.
Yes.
Which means he can survive a blast like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. That's perfect. That's perfect.
That would have,
I hope that rando dude, Sergeant R dude.
Sergeant R, dude.
I hope that he gets the kind of funeral that we saw for Superman at the beginning of the
I
movie.
sure hope so.
He
Yeah,
deserves
none of
it.
this would have been possible were it not for this man here,
Oh
whose
no!
name is.
There goes our main satellite. All we have left is a satellite that's main purpose is just viewing that satellite.
Where are these cameras? Where was that camera? Why do you have a camera just
Look,
pointed at those?
that
Wait,
was-
that's not even the bad one. No, the really bad one is the one on the boat. It's like, where's this footage coming from? Who's filming this?
We
Aquaman.
could see the satellite being destroyed because Steve the astronaut stepped out for a cigarette break, had his
Wait, I'm
iPhone.
sorry. Did Steve the astronaut step out into space?
Yes.
for a cigarette
You don't want to
break?
smoke inside. That's rude.
Oh my gosh.
Man.
Do you guys care at all about the end of this film? Oh yeah, here we go. There's the boat. Where did that camera
Oh
come from?
no, there was another boat. We could see the
Okay,
conning
okay,
tower of another
all right.
boat. That one's
They just
slightly more
Someone
explicit.
else-
They knew which boat was going to get destroyed, so they have a camera fixed on it.
Well, no, I think that what happens is that somebody in post-production also watches a lot of CinemaSins, like I do, which the guy in CinemaSins constantly is like, who's getting this footage?
Yep.
Where's this camera
Who shot
from? And they
this?
were like, oh shit, let's
Who got the
just corner of boat in bottom left.
I gotta tell you, I am enjoying this movie a lot more at 1.5 speed though.
Sorry.
Frantic. Yeah.
Oh man, do you guys
also-
care about any of this that's happening right
I
now?
really
we're
don't.
in our,
Here
we're
we
in
go.
our
Here's
five
slow
watch
motion.
interest.
Here's the slow motion. You know,
Yeah, we're getting
starting
the
to get
speed
it.
ramping effect, which is
Speed
puts
ramping
such
worked way
beautiful
better
effect in
in
Wonder
Woman because Gal Gadot was there, and
Here's the thing.
also it was artistic and beautiful and ballerina-like.
the Enchantress is an apocalypse level witch. We
Okay.
have characters who are defined by their ability to use guns.
Uh-huh.
Why does the end of this movie degenerate into a fist fight? Why are we
well,
using
she did just take
swords
away all
and-
their guns.
She did it just then, though,
Yeah,
is the
she
thing.
waited a while to do that.
Yeah. Deadshot's doing a lot of sliding
says-
around and protecting people.
And then says, this is
not a
your
lot of
last
shooting.
chance. Join me. Hey, you guys, you can still join me. Don't worry.
I actually kind of like this character turn for Harley. I like that she plays it up. This is what she should be doing throughout.
This
really
is
insane.
yeah.
Don't do this. This is a really bad plan.
Yeah.
But she does it anyway, and she manages to sell it because she's the one who is so, deranged that the Enchantress would believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is where we come to the final move of the story here with the big team fight sequence where they all know what they're doing. Apparently, this should have probably been talked about before.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
How'd they do
Yeah.
this?
Okay, so here's what's gonna happen. Croc's gonna come back up out of the sewer. He's gonna throw the bomb. Harley's gonna grab the gun, chuck the gun at me. I'm gonna shoot. What?
Just improv. Just a little improv, guys.
Hey, that was Katana's sword, right? Katana's sword that takes people's souls out, but I guess Enchantress doesn't have a soul.
I guess that's it.
Also, Harley just ripped her heart out. Harley, just destroy the heart right there.
Yeah, right there.
Just do it. Just squish it.
you know what destroys Enchantress? An explosion, a bomb here.
Another bomb,
Hey,
yeah.
drop a bomb on the building and never hire the
There's
Suicide
so
Squad to
much
begin
rain.
with.
That
so much
shot
wind.
of Deadshot catching Harley's gun is so bad.
It's very
I
terrible.
hate it so much.
It's not
All the
ideal.
slow-mo.
Because it's clearly a practical
hold on.
effect
Yes.
and looks garbage.
We're live doing
CGI
this.
it.
We
It's
need
fine.
to slow down our voices while we watch you.
Oh,
No, I'm not doing this.
I'm going to aim for a very long time. This bugs me. How is this happening? The vision of his daughter. Okay, the bomb just passed into the light. That's it. We're done. It's good. No, it's fine. You can continue looking at your daughter and resting your hands weirdly on her head. Why are you doing that?
I have another question. You just mentioned the bomb passing into the light. Like, that's like a big old energy thing. There's probably a lot of heat in there. I mean, he probably didn't need to shoot that bomb. I bet that once it hit the beam, it was going to blow up anyway, right?
Probably.
Also, what are they blowing up here specifically? Because it's not Enchantress.
Oh, it's evil. They're blowing up
Just
the evil.
They're blowing up the evil
They're blowing
beam?
up the blue beam, the
Yep.
blue laser.
Oh my god. Okay, I had never put this together before. I was like, no, they throw the bomb so they can stop Enchantress. No, they're just... That's not...
I'm just saying, guys, we have
I'm
missiles
done.
that can
I'm
shoot.
done.
We have missiles that can shoot across the oceans, but we couldn't just shoot a missile into this building.
Yep. Nuke it from
Have you done
space.
with
It's
it?
the only way to be sure.
Well,
We don't
but
have to
Amanda
nuke- we
Waller
can't
is
nuke
being
it.
tentacled underneath
We
the
can't
building.
nuke. Well, that was just recently that happened.
Okay.
But Waller's at least in the city, so
Also,
we can't nuke
never
it.
say Amanda Waller is being tentacled under the building.
I know what I said and I stand by it.
But even then, like, if Waller's willing to just shoot all those people in the head, surely there's other people in the government that are willing to kill Waller. So
I think most people who've met her, honestly.
Yeah,
destroy the
probably
city.
so.
Level the
Amanda
city if you
Waller,
have
hate
to.
that chick.
But you only have to destroy the one building.
Yeah.
That would have been enough. Both those
Oh,
bombs
and
were pretty
here's
small.
Flag killing the Enchantress. Don't give a shit.
Finally, he crushes the heart. Somebody
Yeah,
crushes
it's-
the heart.
I mean, I
on.
want to like it.
How
I
is
want to
that not done
care,
before now?
No,
but
don't
I'm
care.
just not invested at all.
Yeah.
Particularly because we're trying to build this relationship between Flag and June Moon, and we get no time with them at all in the movie.
Zero. No, it's another thing where it's like, okay, here's this entire backstory, and this is what happens when you try to do an ensemble film without spending time on these characters
You're
in
right,
previous
you're right,
films.
yeah.
Like, this was never going to be a problem with Avengers, Ultron, or Civil War because we'd already had Captain America, Winter Soldier, Iron Man 1 through 3, Thor 1 and 2. This doesn't really matter because those movies aren't super great, but anyway.
So are we feeling good about Justice League then, now that we've established
Well,
some
no,
of these
because
characters
the
individually?
only ones I've seen have been Batman and Wonder Woman, and Superman is dead. And the Flash that I know is on TV and not in the movies.
That's another good point.
You're not Grant Gustin. What are you doing?
Yeah, who are you? How are you not
How
dead?
are
That's
you
a
not
good
dead?
question.
Yes.
Also, Deadshot, why don't you just shoot her in the head right now?
You could do that thing.
Why
You
don't
could do that thing
We
and
know
you
how
won't
to
walk
fuck
free.
No,
Yeah.
we've come
You are.
through the crucible of
No,
connection
they're all still bad.
here.
Well,
They're-
that was the thing. Like, I
They're not
forgot.
bad
I
guys.
thought that they all got to like walk free, and
Yep.
then I was like, yeah, no, they get their deal, and I was like, oh wait, I guess you actually can't let that happen to a bunch of murderers.
that would
and
be
psychopaths.
very bad.
Yes.
But here's the problem.
This is Batman's like next 6 months all planned out right here.
The reason why they keep reminding us that they're bad guys is because if they didn't, we would think, oh, these actually aren't that bad of guys.
Yeah.
They're
actually
okay.
kinda
Here's the
heroes.
thing.
They saved the
They're
day.
really not.
Well, I mean, okay, they
Well,
are.
I mean, okay, they are.
They are really, really bad guys. But no, they're really. Wait, how am I on the wrong side of this? They're really, really bad guys.
No, I'm just saying.
I'm
the
sorry.
world's
Have you
greatest
forgotten
compare.
that my favorite character in all of superhero doom is Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet
Right.
Witch?
I'm saying
Sorry,
compare
your
any
favorite
of these
character in all of
people-
superhero is Diana Prince.
You're right, but I know that she's good.
Compare any of these people to any major supervillain. Doctor Doom, Joker. These people are not villains.
No, these people really are. These people
No,
are
that's fair.
They are
They're criminals. Yeah.
high tier lackeys.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What would the sub supervillainy category? I don't know. Just villain, I guess.
Well, according to like
Criminal, villain,
mafia
supervillain.
hierarchy, you've got the Godfather, and then the guy right under that, I think, is just called the boss. So these are crime bosses, but not like crime lords.
That explains Diablo then, because he leveled up like a Final Fantasy boss.
Yes.
He sure did.
Now he reveals his
another
true
musical
Hey,
cue, by the
another
way.
musical cue.
Well,
And
some-
also
some
how the second
introductions.
trailer opens.
We have the fifth introduction at the end of our film here.
Yep.
The denouement, perhaps.
Oh man!
yeah,
oh my
I-
God! Hang on, Bohemian Rhapsody at 1.5 speed is a travesty. I'm sorry that we're doing this to you, Freddie Mercury.
I'm sorry that we're doing this to ourselves.
Boomerang
He
got
doesn't
nothing.
care.
I do like that Boomerang got nothing because he wasn't willing to play along.
Yep.
I do like Deadshot's scene with his daughter where he's talking about bullet trajectory and she
Yep.
obviously knows what he does.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a little bit obvious. It's a little bit by the numbers.
It
but
is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right, and I mean, she grows up to become Deadshot Jr.
Oh yeah,
right?
she's going to be a sociopath for sure.
Yes.
Harley
She's just like
has her
Vivica A.
espresso
Fox's
machine,
daughter in Kill Bill.
and Harley's reading a Harley Quinn romance novel, and the Joker breaks in to free her.
Oh yeah, don't care.
Don't care about this. None of this is good. Oh, we're gonna have to watch through the credits to get to the post-credit sequence or the mid-credit sequence.
That's okay. We can make it. Maybe.
Yeah, we'll just talk about our experiences, how we all feel.
Oh,
we
it's
grow
the
closer
Joker.
together.
He's
The reveal
How did
is
you-
somehow
It says Joker
undercut.
on his fucking shirt.
It says Joker.
He had those screen printed up before coming in.
Where does the Joker get his money to do this shit? To pull this shit off?
We're confident at this point, never going to see Jared Leto as the Joker again, right?
Gosh, I hope not.
No one is going to
He
hire
was
him to do
really,
this
really
again.
bad, and
Yeah.
apparently utterly like abhorrent to work with.
Yeah, apparently
also,
so.
just did
Yeah.
horrible, awful
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. It is never okay to send anyone used condoms. in the
Yeah.
No,
film,
not
I
at
will
all.
say.
No, I don't
Never.
care how much of a method actor you are.
Yeah,
What
that's-
are you saying?
And
You
not that much
Method
psychopath.
acting.
Terms out,
Nowhere
yes.
from the resource material would you have gotten that idea.
Yeah, no, this is totally something the Joker would do. I'm sorry, what?
Yep,
What?
used sex toys and used condoms are not things that you should send in the
You
mail
were
to people.
confused. You thought you were playing the pranker, who's also not great.
That is like pretty much sexual assault, right?
Yeah,
Like,
No, it
yeah,
absolutely
it's
is.
I'm
No, it
making light of it, but it is
1000% is.
that is
extremely
not
gross.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joel Kinnaman, that is the guy who plays Flag.
Oh, well, he's...
Sorry about your movie.
Yeah,
guy.
sorry about your movie, dude.
But looking at the credits here, most of these people did really good jobs.
Most of them did. They just weren't given
And
a
I
lot
like
to
these credits.
do.
Yeah, no,
I
the
like
credits are very
kaleidoscopic,
splashy. Yeah.
showing of their powers or things that are related to the characters
Yep.
as they show them.
I do feel bad that Karen Fukuhara and David Harbour have to share a credit. It's like, well, you could have taken another 5 seconds for your credit sequence there. But
You could have like thrown in a little Tesla Hydra over there.
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That would have done it.
No, this is where you know this guy from.
It is funny to me.
It's all right. You all Googled it during the movie.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's funny to me that Joker was so hyped in this film and yet was only in 12 minutes of the extended version. I don't know
Yeah.
how many minutes in
Yeah.
the regular version.
Like 7, 8.
Yeah.
So I love this mid-credit sequence. Amanda Waller and Bruce Wayne. I'm not sure that I understand entirely what he's getting out of this deal.
I don't know either because he already has the only information that he gets from her that he doesn't already have is the information on Enchantress.
Well, maybe there's more information about Aquaman in there.
Yeah.
We get that shot of
Maybe
Jason
so.
Momoa,
Yeah, I mean, he
which-
does
Because
just
we
have
saw
like his
that-
WordPress of
Right.
like that he set up with.
We saw that the Harley's dossier had a ton of information in there, and actually, now that I'm looking at, there's a
most
lot of
this stuff- yeah,
redacted
all this
information on
stuff
those
is redacted.
pages.
Like I already had all of this. Thanks, Mandy.
Thanks. Telling him to stop
That's
working
actually
nights.
really cool. I do
It's
enjoy
cool.
that.
I do like it better the other way, where she meets Batman and calls him Rich Boy, but this works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At
I
least
like
we
it.
got something.
That works for me. I don't love Suicide Squad, obviously. You guys
Yeah.
have listened to the last hour and a half of this commentary. But I do like what this is doing for most of the DCU.
Yes.
I like the direction that we're moving in. I like the idea that we can have these smaller scale character anchored
Mm-hmm.
stories, because we haven't really done a great job of that in the MCU
Right.
yet. Ant-Man is the most successful,
Mm-hmm.
I suppose. Ant-Man is not terribly successful, but I'm hopeful that
I like it, man.
Okay, well, obviously we need to rewatch Ant-Man.
Okay, I think we can definitely start talking now about what we're going to talk about next week. You guys, Sarah's not allowed to choose. Vinton, what should we do next week?
I think we already told everyone we'd be doing Miss Marvel.
We are doing the first volume of Miss Marvel.
We've set it in stone.
Oh, like a clear stream of pure water. We're going to do Miss Marvel. I'm
Coming
super
down
into
from the
this.
mountains.
Yes.
Yes,
And then the
yes.
following week, we may be a little delayed, but we are going to get our commentary on, not our commentary, our discussion of Spider-Man Homecoming
Yeah.
out to
Which
you as soon
apparently
as
I
possible.
just saw an article the other day saying that it's going to have 4 credit sequences.
Oh,
into
I
that.
thought there was only
Mid-credit,
2. Oh, probably
post-credit.
2 post-credit, 2 mid-credit.
They
Yeah.
won me over with Guardians. I think if
Yeah.
that's the approach that you're going to take, if you're just going to saturate your credits, then
Yes,
I'm
Do
fine.
I'm
it, do
into
it.
it.
I'll
Like,
send the theater an extra
absolutely.
10
That's
minutes.
the
I'm good.
best way to get me to watch all of your credits.
No
Yes.
kidding.
Also, do cool things while they're going on. Right now, I am looking at credits with a black screen and some stars in the back.
Like, wait, is this a
Yeah, but
Windows
Judy
98
Murdoch was the
background?
makeup artist to Mr. Smith, and I think that that's important.
Yeah,
Let's all
and Rico
respect.
Emerson was the key grip. We could have done it without you, Rico.
We really couldn't. Rowena O'Connor, the first assistant props on set.
But Guardians credits really pulled me in. They had
No,
all sorts of stuff
absolutely.
going on.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
changing
That
from
was just-
we Are Groot to
Yep.
different things. It was, I was in. I was reading every one of those names looking for in jokes.
Yeah, we're reading those names now, and there aren't any in jokes, but I'm still just looking at them.
Yes. Well, you haven't. I mean, you're in control. You could hit pause.
I could
right
stop
now.
this
You
anytime.
can
I
stop.
could have stopped this anytime.
That's
All right.
it, guys. That was Suicide Squad.
That was Suicide Squad. I hope you had a good time listening to our
I
discussion.
hope so. Yeah, this is the first ever commentary track we've done over here on Excelsior.
Quote commentary track.
we
Quote.
might do real commentary tracks at some point. I think
Yeah,
I'd
for
really
stuff
like
that
to.
we
Yeah,
love. But
yeah.
again, we had friends coming into town. You know, we had kind of a hard week. We really are just like padding time until we can get to Spider-Man Homecoming. I do not apologize for this.
And
Because
we don't
I
mean
had a
in the
great
podcast.
time.
We mean in life.
Yes.
We're all just looking at our watches waiting for Spider-Man.
Basically, yeah.
I am
Yep.
super excited.
My husband did say that he was not very excited for Spider-Man Homecoming, and I told him that we had to go see a therapist.
That's all right. We can be
So-
your Spider-Man husbands.
Excellent. Good. Yay!
Spider-Man husband. Right?
So if you guys enjoyed this, if you like this, if you want to talk to us, you can do so on Twitter over at ExcelsiorCast. You can get in touch with me personally at Sarah Cade Pazant.
You can get in touch with me at Paper Bullets.
And I'm at Flesh Eater, and you can hear more from me at the Graphomania Podcast Network on the Read Brave Comics Podcast.
If you liked this very particular thing, if you're interested in us doing this kind of thing again, then give us your money and we'll do whatever you want, basically. That's not true. But we can maybe be convinced to do some more commentary tracks and things like that. Head on over to patreon.com/commonroomradio. Kick us $1 a month or whatever you can afford. You can listen to gag reels. This entire episode was basically one long gag reel, I
Yeah,
think.
if you like us goofing around and going to get beer and
Yes.
Sarah going to the bathroom, which happens every single episode, guys. I'm
I
not
have
kidding.
a really little bladder.
Every single episode.
It's not my fault. It's just biology.
You can hear all of that over on patreon.com/commonroomradio.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, yeah, so next week, the first trade of Miss Marvel. It's amazing. It's fantastic. It's going to be much, much better than Suicide
It
Squad.
will bring joy to your heart.
Yes, it's so good. Please pick that up. It's excellent. It's wonderful. It's great. And yeah, that's going to do it for us this week. So once again, from Common Room Radio, I am Sarah Cade Pazant.
I'm Alistair Stevens.
And I'm Vinton Bain, and what? We some kind of Suicide Squad?
Womp, womp, womp.
Excelsior!